situation, there's change in town. It feels like a massive change. It's a big move for this organization, for Shad Khan, for this city, for the name of Tom Coughlin. But I think if you ask the players, if they had changed the head coach, that would have been a much bigger move to them than the Tom Coughlin move.
Yeah, I mean, as far as from the perspective of getting ready for Atlanta, Tom Coughlin didn't really have a direct influence to that. Now, maybe if you got fined for being late to a meeting, well, that would take some money out of your paycheck, and then maybe you're a little distracted from prepping for Atlanta. But the day-to-day things like you're bringing up, the game planning, I think even some of the coaching decisions, obviously, that's on Doug Marrone, all right? The players don't see the Tom Coughlin thing, but I guarantee this, and I know this for a fact, the players still felt the Tom Coughlin effect when he was there. Obviously, I mean, it's with the clocks you've heard about. It's with the fines. It's with a certain way to do things. It's with ping pong tables being dismantled, thrown in the trash and saying we're football players, not ping pong players, things of that nature. So from that perspective, yes, he had a direct influence on the team. But as far as from a week-to-week preparation standpoint, I don't think he had that much.
Yeah, and again, you're right. The presence was felt, no doubt, in that building, in their wallet. I think that's the biggest thing. I think the biggest thing is he impacted their bank account, too much. It makes it not fun. It also seems egregious. By the way, the NFLPA won a grievance, so obviously the arbitrator agreed. Some of the stuff was egregious, and it is what it is. And so it's interesting to me, that dynamic between player and Coughlin. Now, coaches and Coughlin may be a different thing, and how much he meddled into everything. But that was more from a coaching standpoint, I believe, than an everyday player standpoint. He was in meetings and all that, but he wasn't addressing the room and standing up in front of the room. Maybe he said some words at times, but the address was coming from Doug Marrone. So it's interesting, the involvement, players versus Coughlin, in that respect.
Well, and I'm going to say this real quick, too. In terms of Doug Marrone and his style, if we've talked about before, and I'm going to repeat myself here, but in terms of how Doug Marrone loosened up the reins this year, I think it's a direct correlation of him trying to save that locker room and save those guys there, saying, you know what, I understand you guys may not respect Tom Coughlin and the way things are done here. I'm going to ease up a little bit, and I'm going to go out of my comfort zone just to make sure I can salvage this season. Now, it didn't work. It's been one of the most underachieving seasons of all time. But I think that was Doug Marrone just trying to make it work, trying to get the players respect and saying, you know what, I know maybe the culture, you guys don't agree with it here, but we have to press on forward.
Yeah, there's no doubt it was a different tact, and that was part of it. I think that was to try to fend off and shield the players from Tom Coughlin, say, look, we can do it this way. I'm going to need you. You're going to need me. Let's do it this way. And, that to me is disconnect. You want lineage in an organization, in a business. You want to be on the same page. Mm-hmm. This group was not on the same page. But is it single-handedly on Tom Coughlin? Is now the next question to this, because Tom Coughlin is the move that got made yesterday. We're 10 or 11 days away from potentially more moves here in Jacksonville. How do you feel about it today? Dave Caldwell, Doug Marrone, their future in Jacksonville. Has it already been decided by Shad Khan, who, by the way, was in the facility today and was at the practice field today and was there yesterday in person to deliver that news to Shad Khan? So, and Stuart Weber actually hinted at that. Maybe he was traveling Monday, Tuesday, so, couldn't get over there until Wednesday, and that's why the news went down yesterday. We don't know as much on that front. But now what? Has Shad Khan already made up his mind? You saw the press release. You saw the statement. What's your interpretation of it? Because it is being interpreted a little bit differently depending on who you ask.
Well, of course. But I think what we have to go off of here is what we know about Shad Khan, the way he operates, and what we know of some prior comments, okay? And do you want to make Tom Coughlin the scapegoat and said this was all his fault? Doug Marrone's a good guy. He's a great coach, and we didn't give him a fair shot. Is Dave Caldwell a good GM? Has he drafted great guys before? Possibly, yes. I think so. We can both agree on that. He's had some hits and he's had some misses, okay? So does Shad Khan make Tom Coughlin the scapegoat and keep both Caldwell and Marrone? And it's funny because, like, the media outlets on the national level are saying Shad Khan, and I forgot who said this. I should probably know that. But he's like, Shad Khan's a smart guy, and the smart move would be to keep Caldwell and
I think
Marrone.
That was Jeff Darlington.
Thank you.
Pretty sure.
Thank you. So, okay. No, though. That's not going to happen, in my opinion, and here's why. because if you work together, if you're Shad Khan, you're Doug Marrone, and Dave Caldwell, you have to coexist together, obviously, right? And you have to respect each other, and there has to be some line of communication. From what I've been adamant about since this whole Jalen Ramsey fiasco when he got traded and nobody in the front office could answer the questions except Doug Marrone, who wasn't his say to answer the questions. To me, Doug Marrone at those pressers having to answer the questions that he shouldn't have to answer is a sign of disrespect. So when you don't respect somebody, that means that you probably don't foresee yourself working with them in the future. Now, you can always build that respect back up. You can say, hey, you know what? It was Tom Coughlin. This is Shad Khan talking. You know what? Tom, we hired him to do something. He didn't do it. I probably took his side a little more than I should have, and I apologize to Doug Marrone. Now, that could happen, but this is the NFL. And usually when there's discrepancies, when there's grievances, things don't end up, panning out. So from my perspective, I think if you're Shad Khan, you come out, you fire Tom Coughlin, you say, these last 2 games are important, obviously, and you'll make your decisions then. I think he's already made his decision, but the last thing you want to do of an owner is to keep, Doug Marrone and Dave Caldwell say, you know what? These last 2 games don't mean anything. They're probably going to be gone, but we're going to keep them on anyways. That makes no sense from a culture standpoint. It makes no sense from a business standpoint, and it makes no sense if you're trying to win football games, which Shad Khan, I think, is still trying to do.
It's interesting because the way the statement read was Dave Caldwell and Doug Marrone will now report to me, and we are focused on these last 2 games. And that was about it. I did not interpret that with any deep dive and say, wow, there's a chance. I mean, that just to me is like, okay, they have to report to somebody now, and they're part of it. And he had to mention them because the next question would be, well, what about them? Are they gone too right now? Or are they, so it wasn't a vote of confidence in my opinion. It wasn't damning in my opinion. It was just neutral the way I interpreted it. It was just part of the statement. There have been some people that, I think Pro Football Talk put it out there, and I even was like, I don't know if that said that. But they kind of said, looks like they could be back. The darling to the world. Some of the national folks have suggested that it could be back. And I will tell you this, a little deeper dive in there today. There is a growing curiosity. There is a little momentum. There's a feeling, let's say that, growing feeling in that building that those guys might not be done at the end of this year, from everything I can gather today.
Interesting.
And it is interesting because I still am under the idea that I'm kind of thinking Shad Khan will make a clean sweep and hit the refresh button. But it does have me thinking back a little bit. When he fired Gus Bradley, he basically made Gus Bradley the scapegoat and said it was all on Gus Bradley. He kept assistants like Marrone, like Todd Wash and others, and he kept Dave Caldwell. And he basically said it's Gus Bradley. Now could he be saying it's all Tom Coughlin? To your point, it's all on Tom Coughlin. This whole thing was set up and failed because of Tom Coughlin and the way we structured it. And I'm sure he'll take some ownership of that too because that's the way he set it up. But is that what he's thinking? And Doug Marrone and Dave Caldwell could be safe in all of this. How could it be possible? Let's talk about that when we come back. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Do they have a chance to save their jobs? Do the results of these games matter in that conversation? Could it be both? Could it be one or the other? We talked about it a little bit yesterday. Doug Marrone, is he making strides here to potentially be back in 2020? Like I just said, there's some growing momentum that both Dave Caldwell and Doug Marrone will be back in 2020. Things that we're hearing. Let's discuss it. You can jump in. Star 690 904-362-9901 on a Thursday edition of Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Mostly to partly sunny today, the afternoon high near 60 degrees. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 Action News Jacks from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Where now through December 24th, get 20% off everything in the store, including loose diamonds, only at Beard's Diamonds.
New flavors and a rating that would make man jealous. Hey, everyone, this is Austin Lane.
And I'm Brett Martineau. Vita de Louis recently got a 98 rating. It's new, and it's getting rave reviews.
Made in Tequila, Mexico, and shipped directly to Jack's Beach. Vita de Louis is available in 3 flavors.
And those flavors are Blanco, Reposado, and Añejo. Try all 3. Make your own recipes with Vita de Louis Tequila, one of the smoothest tequilas you will ever taste. For merchandise and more, visit VitaDeLouis.com.
Hey guys, this is Allie McDeal from both Best Bet Card Rooms. Best Bet's annual Winter Poker Series will be starting on January 17th at our Jacksonville location. With 12 poker events, the Best Bet Winter Poker Series has something for everyone, including the main event featuring an $1,100 buy-in with a $200,000 guaranteed prize pool. Whether you're looking for a low-limit or a high-limit event, the Best Bet annual Winter Poker Series will have a seat for you this January. Experience the best at Best Bet Jacksonville.
Tax problems can be extremely stressful and cause financial devastation. The tax attorneys at J. David Tax Law are right here in Jacksonville to be your personal advocate and resolve your IRS or state sales tax issues. J. David Tax Law focuses on your needs and case outcomes. Don't be fooled by these big out-of-town tax companies that only focus on getting you to sign up and pay without even working with an attorney. At J. David Tax Law, only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you. Get the help you need with tax debt, payroll taxes, bank levies, wage garnishments, tax liens, and unfiled returns. If you have federal or state sales tax debt, have a sit-down with J. David Tax Law. Your first step is a no-cost consultation. Call J. David Tax Law at 904-507-4777, 904-507-4777. Peace of mind only a click or phone call away, 904-507-4777, or go to jdavidtaxlaw.com.
Small business owners, it's been a great year, and now it's time to begin to make some end-of-year decisions. Instead of giving your hard-earned money to the tax man, consider reinvesting in your business with a quality pre-owned truck, van, or commercial work vehicle from Jacksonville Truck Center. With the largest selection of pre-owned work vehicles in North Florida and easy commercial financing, let us be your one-stop shop to get the job done today. We're on the corner of Arlington Expressway and Southside Connector. Stop by today or visit us at JacksonvilleTruckCenter.com.
20% off. Don't get Scrooged this Christmas buying a diamond from anyone else but Beard's Diamonds.
Now through Christmas, you'll save an extra 20% off Beard's already guaranteed low prices,
Including loose diamonds.
in the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Golick and Wingo.
I think my jersey was one of the top-selling jerseys around the world, and I didn't make a dollar from it, but nor did I want to.
I respect Tim Tebow. I respect his opinion. I love his passion. I just could not disagree with it more.
Golick and Wingo. Weekdays at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 and on your smart speaker.
You know, right now what is important to me is obviously, my job is to lead these coaches, and that's what we did, last night, game planning, and, lead these players and do the best job I can for them, to really win these next 2 games. That's my focus. I've said it before, pretty much blinders on, going ahead.
That's Doug Marrone earlier today about his approach, and it's about winning football games right now. No doubt about it for him. That's the way he's done a good job in all of that. I mean, he's kept it the way it's supposed to be kept. He has handled these situations, I think, pretty well. I do. I mean, I don't know what else he could have done. I think he's made himself into a very likable figure here in Jacksonville. Almost a sympathetic figure at times because of the Coughlin situation, juggling that, the Ramsey stuff, having to talk about it, having to talk about all these different topics and be the spokesperson, even though he really doesn't have much to do with it, the rift. He's tried to protect that rift, build a barrier between that front office and the locker room. He's done a lot of good things. He really has. But has he done enough to keep his job? And like I said before the break, and what we'll talk about right now, this is still very fresh, but I believe there is some momentum here, at least the feel of it, from folks I talked to, that Dave Caldwell and Doug Marrone could still salvage this thing and be back in 2020. There's a lot of different ways to go with this, but the one thing I would be very interested in is if they're going to make that move, it's got to be in tandem, I would think, to say, hey, they're coming back. We didn't put them in a great situation. It was a strange dynamic. We're blaming Tom Coughlin for this, and we're moving forward and giving another crack in 2020. What they can't do, in my estimation, and a lot of people have spoken to this, and again, this has been something way before the Coughlin thing, is there a lot of folks think that Caldwell could have survived whatever sweeping changes would have been made. I didn't necessarily believe that. And now there are a lot of folks, I think, from a fan perspective, say, you know what, if one's going to stay, I'd rather have Doug Marrone. You know, I think he's handled this well. I think he was put up in a tough spot. You know, you see some of that. But they can't do that. They either both have to come back or both have to go. You can't create a situation where you're trying to pigeonhole the next coach or GM with this person. It can't happen. We just lived it.
Yeah.
So in my estimation of Shad Khan, he either has to make a move and it's everybody, or these guys stay together. That's the move to make. And I'm not advocating either one. I'm just saying it's one or the other. It's not one person stays and one doesn't. I think these guys have to be joined at the hip here because if not, you're really spinning in circles the way you're trying to do this thing. They clean swept it and started over in 2013. But in 2017, they said, okay, Gus, you're out. Todd Wash, you're staying. Doug Marrone, you're in. Tom Coughlin, you're coming in. Dave Caldwell, you're staying in whatever role this is. Yeah. And now you're going to maybe do that again if you say, all right, Caldwell, you've had a nice run at it, but it's not enough. We need to bring somebody else in. Well, who? Who wants to work with Doug Marrone? And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying you have to find the person that wants to work with Doug Marrone, and that's okay. Or do you hire the GM and they make the decision on Doug Marrone going forward?
Sometimes you don't get the best candidate. You get the best person that's going to mesh well with either the GM or the head coach. And sometimes when you cut corners like that, you don't have the success that you're hoping to get.
Absolutely. And so I really do not advocate that. I think living this for the last dozen years in Jacksonville, seeing all these different ways that things have been done, I believe my advice would be to Shad Khan, be like, hey, you either got to get rid of them all and start over, or you keep them both and just blame Tom Coughlin. And my belief, by the way, folks, is that it will still, I think everybody's going. I'm just telling you that that's my belief, and I'm kind of being talked out of that belief.
Sure.
In the last 12 hours.
Okay.
Well, 15 hours, 18 hours, 24 hours, whatever it might be.
Then let me ask you this question. The Jaguars right now are 5-9. I think it would be generous of me to say that they win one and they lose one.
That's generous.
To close out, that's very generous. So let's assume maybe best case scenario, they go 6-10. How do you justify keeping the general manager and the head coach of a team that went 6-10 after you're the owner and you came out and said, we're not going to have a repeat of last season? How do you make me believe that they're going to keep both those guys in?
First of all, I would have a hard time doing it, but I would say everything would go back to, and this is a tough part of the business sometimes, you've got to blame Tom Coughlin. Listen, Tom Coughlin didn't allow us to sign Allen Robinson at the time. We wanted to. He didn't allow – we wanted to keep Jalen Ramsey. We didn't want that rift to happen. He's one of the great players we have. We actually would have liked to have signed Yannick Ngakoue by now, but we couldn't do it. It didn't mesh. I don't know about the Miles Jack front. Do you blame that on him? I don't. It's probably too early to blame him on that. There's no way you can say, if you're Dave Caldwell, that I didn't endorse Blake Bortles to come back, because Dave Caldwell was part of that. He drafted him, but the guy that rubber stamped that had to be Tom Coughlin. That's on his record as well. Now, could they spin it around and say, I really didn't think Nick Foles was worth that kind of money, but Tom Coughlin really wanted to go after it? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's very I don't want to be disingenuous here, because what I've said is I fully believe Dave Caldwell and that scouting staff and everybody else has been making a lot of the moves these last few years. I do. I think I will willingly give them credit for the drafts, in this draft, and some of the players they have picked, but I also think they've been involved in these other kind of moves that some of them haven't worked out. Now, do I think Allen Robinson potentially could still be here? Do I think Yannick Ngakoue could already be signed up? Do I think Ramsey would still be here? Yeah, probably do. I do. But I think they've been pulling a lot of the moves. It comes down to the rubber stamping at the end of the day, and Tom Coughlin had to approve or disapprove, and where he played a role in each one of those players that I just mentioned and each one of those moves, we really don't know, but that's when the blame game starts, and Shad Khan, I would think, has a better idea of that and does know who really felt which way in those kind of meetings. That does go back to Coughlin. Coughlin said in his statement, I was responsible for all things football. Now, you asked the same, so it depends how you feel about what Caldwell has done. I can point out a lot of things that I think Dave Caldwell has done well, but I also think these two quarterback moves are on the front office right now. And it's, you know what it is? It is $76 million guaranteed for two quarterbacks in the last couple of years that have started a combined 15 games for the Jacksonville Jaguars and may not play again. So that's what's on the record of the front office in terms of bringing in those two quarterbacks and extending those quarterbacks and giving them that money. That would bother me if I'm Shad Khan, that stat. $76 million, 15 games started, guaranteed $76 million. So the other part of it is for Doug Marrone. I think he's done an admirable job. And again, being very transparent here, if you've been listening to the show, after 8 weeks, I said I think he's done a heck of a job keeping this thing together.
And I've agreed with you on that.
But, man, they lost 5 straight games. Did that have to do anything with Coughlin? They lost 5 games in record fashion.
Does Tom Coughlin have anything to do with them being the most penalized team in the NFL?
I don't think so. I don't think on the field with Coughlin, other than did players feel like they were playing that they wanted to be there. You could get the most out of players because I think if you don't like your boss, are you going to go to the 110% for being a part of something that you really don't like?
Probably not.
But that's the only kind of trickle down I can see on the field happening from Tom Coughlin and what he's done and if he was having friction with the front office. Now, the only other thing is that give me better players. Would the Jags have been better off with Ramsey on the field the last month and a half? Probably, but I don't know if they would have won any of those games. Would they have been better off if Allen Robinson was still here over the last couple of years? Yeah, I think so. I think they would have. Would they be better off if Yannick Ngakoue was happier right now and had a big contract? I don't know. I think Yannick's played pretty well. So you have to sift through this. And that's why, by the way, all this while I'm talking, I still believe it will be a clean sweep in a couple of weeks. I don't think that, but I'm just telling you what I'm hearing is this could move forward. And I wouldn't sit here and I don't know if I would rip it and be dead set against it, but I'm just not ready to say I know if they've earned another opportunity in 2020 as well. I think it's really a leap of faith for Shad Khan to look at this over the last few years and say, we don't have to rip it all up. We can still stick with 2/3 of this three-headed monster that we had over the last 3 years. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's a long talk. I'm sorry.
No, you're all good, man. So, yeah, with Doug Marrone, listen, when you tie wins and losses together, it falls directly on the head coach. Now, yeah, sure, it falls on the GM too as well. But if you Wikipedia Doug Marrone and you Wikipedia Dave Caldwell, I don't, but I assume that's what's going to happen, is when you see Dave Caldwell, you'll see his history, but you're not going to see how many wins and losses he has, right? Because the correlation of wins and losses does not fall directly on the GM. It does, however, fall directly on the head coach. And I think we were both in agreement whether Doug and Dave stay or go, it's going to be together. You're not going to keep one and fire the other. So this is a tandem deal here. And when we're breaking down the head coach, and if you want to make Tom Coughlin the scapegoat, and you want to say the culture was ruined, the team was in shambles, and Doug Marrone did everything he did in his power to try to make it right. Okay. But you're still the most penalized team in the NFL. You still gave up a record back-to-back-to-back Tommy Namsky 200-yard rushing performances to your opponents, okay? You had a 5-game streak where you were losing by an average of like 17-something points a game. Embarrassing, okay? So those things, can you really point to Tom Coughlin and say, well, Tom Coughlin's old school mentality was the reason why the Jaguars surrendered so much in the run game? No, you can't say that. Can you say Tom Coughlin's old school mentality was the reason why the Jaguars lost 5 in a row? I can't say that. Maybe somebody wants to say that.
I think it's a stretch.
But I'm not going to say that. And I'm just going once again. I think Shad Khan, yes, he's got a lot of things going on in his life. He has a lot of irons in the fire. Guess what? Any billionaire owner does, okay? This isn't anything new. But if he's one thing, I think he's a man of his word. okay? And when he put the precedent out last year, when the season was over, and he said, and I can't remember the exact quote, I'll look it up here during the break, but he basically said, we're not going to have a repeat of last year. We're going to be successful, or there will be changes made. And the Jaguars right now are 5-9, and once again, I'm saying it, I'm going to be generous and say they go 6-10, and that's very, very generous. And I'm going to say that. If you go 6-10, and I think Doug Marrone did a fantastic job of keeping that team together. But unfortunately, this is a performance-based business for players, for coaches, even GMs and even vice presidents and even owners, okay? Everyone's accountable. And when you look at a 6-10 record, maybe, you got to look at it and say, you know what? We didn't achieve. Who does that fall on? Yeah, sure, Coughlin has something to do with it, but who was the guy that was coaching on the field? And that's Doug Marrone.
All right, we take a break. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. When we come back, let's flip it around, though. Let's dig for a clue, a reason why they might. You got anything? Why they might keep it in place. A little more evidence than just, well, it was all Tom's fault. Because I don't think anybody does that. Now, you might with your actions, no words are going to be like, oh, it was all Tom's fault. They never even said that about Gus Bradley, but their actions kind of said, oh, it was all Gus's fault. Everything else is in place.
Yeah.
I mean, it was for a year.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's about it. We're not done with this yet. Doug Marrone, Dave Caldwell, where do they stand in this? 10 days to go in Jacksonville or another year in 10 days at least? It's next on ESPN 690. Your thoughts, star 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. Yesterday, the Jacksonville Jaguars ownership decided to move on from Tom Coughlin as VP of Football Operations. Here's head coach Doug Marrone.
And he said that Shada just let me go. I think those are all, we've been through this. Unfortunately, in coaching, it happens. We've been through it before. I kind of just took a step back and asked Coach, is there anything that I can do for you? And Coach was as professional as you guys know he would be.
Tom Coughlin has also released a statement which reads, I'd like to thank Shad Khan for the opportunity to come back to Jacksonville, all the players and their staff for their efforts, and the great fans here for their support. I was the first coach of the franchise, and I will always be supportive of the Jags. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com. Best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers wholesale prices with premium service, and TireOutlet.com always has a safety-first focus. With locations throughout the First Coast, there's no need to go anywhere else for tires and service.
What's up, everybody? It's Austin Lee on ESPN 690, and I need you, your friends, and family to meet me at the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena Saturday, December 21st for the Jacksonville Icemen's Drive for 10,000 Teddy Bears. I know what you're thinking, hockey and teddy bears, but check this out. When the Icemen score their first goal, fans will be encouraged to throw their teddy bears and other stuffed animals on the ice. These stuffed animals will then be donated to the Children's Christmas Party of Jacksonville, so thousands of local kids are going to have their holiday shine a little brighter. There is no limit to the amount of stuffed animals that you can bring. This may be the only time where you're actually encouraged to throw things at a sporting event. So let's have some fun. Let's cheer on the Icemen and try to break an ECHL teddy bear toss record, all while doing our part in making sure local kids in need have a special holiday as well. It's the Drive for 10,000 Teddy Bears supporting the Children's Christmas Party of Jacksonville this Saturday, December 21st. Get your tickets now at JacksIceman.com/Teddy19. That's JacksIceman.com/Teddy19, and let's put some teddy bears on ice.
It's holiday time, so treat yourself to some golf or give the gift of golf. Hey everyone, this is Brent Martineau. The golf club at Southampton is one of the most fun tracks to play in the area, and it's very affordable. It's the home of the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18 as well. Go to golfsouthampton.com for tee times, gift cards, and gift packages. There are 9 different options to choose from. It's the perfect gift. The gift of golf at Southampton this holiday season. Visit golfsouthampton.com.
Small business owners, it's been a great year, and now it's time to begin to make some end-of-year decisions. Instead of giving your hard-earned money to the tax man, consider reinvesting in your business with a quality pre-owned truck, van, or commercial work vehicle from Jacksonville Truck Center. With the largest selection of pre-owned work vehicles in North Florida and easy commercial financing, let us be your one-stop shop to get the job done today. We're on the corner of Arlington Expressway and Southside Connector. Stop by today or visit us at JacksonvilleTruckCenter.com.
The Stephen A. Smith Show, weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Nobody's saying that Jimmy Garoppolo can't play. He's got 9 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. I know they got a good defense because that's the only reason they 8-0 right now. It ain't because of Jimmy G.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Yeah, I know it probably threw me off when I first got here. I thought I was late. So, but I know that's probably the strongest adjustment we're going to probably have to get to is just resetting back to 5 minutes back. But nah, other than that, no real big difference.
That's what he was talking. That's Avery Jones, by the way, and he's talking about they're not going to feel this in the locker room. Their bank accounts may feel it now or less, and the 5 o'clock. I mean, the 5 minute early thing will end. They've already moved the clocks back in the building to normal time, which is fine.
What year is that? I mean, I don't know. Whatever, man.
I don't know, but I kind of liked it when I would be in the locker room.
Yeah,
I'd be like, "Oh crap, it's
I didn't even
2:37.
notice
I got to go," and then I'd
truth.
get out to my car to be like 2:34. Be like, "Oh shoot, that's right. They're ahead."
I didn't even notice it.
If I'm Tom, though, like, I'm feeling insulted that you did it that quick. Like, you couldn't wait to reset the clocks?
It's so insane. You know, it would be an awesome television show now that Tom Coughlin's, looking for possibly a job. Put him in Arizona with Kingsbury. Because, remember when Kingsbury had that thing where players get their cell phones during practice, whatever it was during meetings, there's like a 10-minute cell phone break. Can you imagine the dialogue that would occur between Kingsbury and Tom Coughlin? Gold, Brent.
Yeah, we said
TV gold.
You think is Coughlin done? I mean, it's done, right? I mean, he's not going to get another job.
I think he's done.
Yeah,
because he's showing the fact that he's not willing to adapt, and that's a big red flag for teams that would try to bring him on. So, unfortunately, for him. But I think, maybe he was trying to get out anyways. Who knows what his mindset is right now? But I think Tom Coughlin is done.
I feel like I've talked about this for the last 24 hours straight, and so I don't want to. I don't want to rehash a lot, but I guess we really haven't talked about the overall reaction of why it happened. And we'll get into a little bit more of that with Tom Coughlin and how this thing all went down and everything like that. Get your thoughts on it. We did a little special show, but it was after our show yesterday. But I do think, I was talking to other folks today, just in the business world, because everybody's talking about it, right? Water cooler, everywhere you go today, people are talking about it and asking about it. And it, quite frankly, is this simplistic to me. The inability to adapt to today's player, even from a front office man standpoint, with this fines, with the amount of fines, with the lack of maybe communication here in Jacksonville, that inability to change, much like we talked about yesterday, he did change along the way, at least a sliver in New York. Mm-hmm. And when he did, he got a response from those players, so much so that they won a couple of Super Bowls.
Sure.
But it never felt like they adapted here, almost went back to his old ways. And again, that's a perception thing. We don't know every story in the building, but I've heard some stories in the building, and we're going to hear more stories out of that building on Tom Coughlin. The walls are going to start talking for real now, not just internally, but it's going to start leave the building. So we will continue to hear stories, not just of players being fined, but the day-to-day and how he was interactive and meddling with the coaches and the assistant coach. I've heard everything from leaving sticky notes on all the assistant coaches' doors after a game and with suggestions or ideas, which I don't know. Is that a bad thing? Well, maybe it's too much. He's not coaching the team. So, everybody can make their own judgments about it. And I did talk to several people today. I said, you know what? Tom Coughlin's a good man. I'm not going to sit here and rip Tom Coughlin. These were people that I was talking to. And so I don't know if you'll get a lot of disparaging remarks coming out of the building or not, but I think soon enough you'll kind of get a feel that it wasn't great. It wasn't a great place to be over these last couple years especially.
Well, and it's like you said, you saw a glimpse of it in New York, Brent, and then the landscape around him seemed to change a little bit when he got to Jacksonville. And it's funny because I had this conversation about a week ago. I was at my MMA gym, but there's some coaches there that coach high school wrestling around the area, and they're very successful. And I asked them, because there's a lot of similarities between wrestling and football, okay? And I asked him, how do you, especially such a physical sport, such a taxing mental sport like wrestling, how do you become successful at that, especially with the kids nowadays in high school, the quote-unquote millennials. Mm-hmm. And they all had to say the same thing to me, and it was completely simple. It was like, we're still hard on the kids. But we just have to explain why now we're hard on them. Because the biggest thing with kids these days, or even football players in the NFL now, it's the fact that they want to know why. Why are we doing this? Why would we have to do it this way? Why? And when Tom Coughlin came in, I don't think Tom Coughlin ever took the time in himself to explain why. Why are the clocks set back five minutes? And then if you can't answer the question why, it's just like, oh, you know what? It's just we want to be there early, you know, because it's gonna help us win games. Well, if you can't justify why the clocks are set back by 5, then does that can help you win? Just like when I played ball, why are we doing Oklahoma drills? Okay, now Coach Dorito could go, we're gonna build a little toughness. But does that help us win football games? You know, guys get hurt from doing that. So just, hey, you have to relay to the players, this is why we're doing things, this is why it's set up, and go from there. And I think with Tom Coughlin and the way that culture is set up, where you're back in the Stone Ages of just trying to rule with an iron fist, but you're not telling the players why you're doing it. And when you do that, there's a disconnect and there's no communication.
Yeah, I believe they'll write a book. Maybe it's already out. Why is the title of it? Because that is a millennial thing. I talk to a lot of folks, not just the folks you talk to in the gym about wrestling, but talk to a lot of coaches, people, teachers, and that's what they'll say. They say this era of young adults, whatever, they want to know the why. They do. That is. Yeah. And by the way, is there anything wrong with that? I don't think so.
Yeah, absolutely not. Hey, Brent, if I can, listen, I'm the guy that loved Oklahoma drills, all right? I live for that. I live for the 4th and 1 goal lines and just, you know, putting my body on the line basically every single practice. I live for all that. But if I could go back in time, and I'm sure every single vet on my team would agree with me, if they could go back in time, even the captains, and ask, hey, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
They would. We were behind the curve, you know? And now it's the new NFL player, and you can either hate on it if you want, but I think a lot of that hate and a lot of that disrespect from the older generations to the newer generations, the older generations are just jealous, man, because they never asked why. I wish I could go back in time and ask why.
We are going to ask, why would you keep? We're going to look at it from this angle. Why would Shad Khan keep Marrone and Caldwell? Why? Why would they? In a moment, but let's get to the phone lines. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Sean is on the line, has a thought or two, I think, on the Coughlin firing and maybe the future of the Jags. What's up, Sean?
Hey, how you guys doing this afternoon?
Good.
Good. Question. So, Coughlin said that the decisions were made by him. So, if the decisions were made by him, do you think that prevented Marrone from firing the coaches and allowing him to bring in who he wanted to fix what he thought was wrong? And if that's the case, do you think Marrone appeals to Khan to actually get to stay another year, to pick who he wants to pick to bring that defense back up to what it needs to be?
Very good, Sean. Nice, good question. Appreciate you listening to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. It's a good question. And I think we saw that a little bit this year. Part of, and probably haven't talked about it enough, part of the I'm doing it my way, I think was, let's just give one example. Flaherty out as the offensive line coach last year, at the end of last year, and Warhop in. That was Marrone, because Flaherty was a Coughlin hire. So that's a good point by Sean.
Yeah.
You know, everything did go through Coughlin to begin, and some of those hires. I'm still convinced. I'm not sure where the Todd Washing. I had heard when Gus Bradley got fired and that Shad Khan was a big fan of Todd Wash. That's what I heard. And this defense was kind of in place, you know. And by the way, you know, you can say what you want now, and I understand there's a lot of people that don't like the defense of Shad Khan and put a lot of blame on him. But in 2017, it was the reason they did what they did. So Shad Khan might not have been wrong in that regard. That was a good defense. And last year was a top 5 defense, and things have now fallen apart. But it's a good question by Sean. I don't know. No doubt Marrone was in the process, but he got more involved in the process. Said, I'm putting more of my people in there this year, and Warhop's a great example of it. Perry Fuel was around last year. That was a Coughlin guy. You know, now Coughlin still, Dom Capers comes in. Can Todd Wash say, hey, Dom Capers meddling in more meddling going on? I know you like the Capers move, but I'm just saying, it's a good example by Sean. How much did Marrone have a say in his staff? And by the way, coaches should have 100% say in their staff.
Well, and it's not like I was praising on top of the heavens saying, all right, we got Dom Capers, let's do this. That's not the case at all. I was optimistic about Dom Capers coming in because I thought we would see a lot more different exotic looks, because that's what he specializes in. And for the most part, you've seen him here and there on third down, but it's mostly been the Todd Wash offense. You know, it's been the base defense that we've been associating with it for the past 2 or 3 years now. So from that perspective, I mean, I don't know how much you can put on Dom Capers.
I don't know if you put anything in, man. I just think it's the idea. What Sean's talking about is it's not like Doug Marrone said, hey, Dom Capers, come on here and influence my team.
Yeah.
Tom Coughlin said that. So that's the point. That's his point, and it's a good point. Is there too much of that going on? And the answer to that, yes, there was too much of that going on. Whether Capers was good to this defense or not, the bottom line is there was too much influence from Coughlin on a coaching staff.
Yeah.
By the executive vice president of football operations. Let the coach do that. That's a good example of it. South Beach Gary, I think, is on the line as well, wants to jump in on this conversation. What's up, man?
Good afternoon, guys. And Austin, you and I have talked about the penalties ad nauseum, but not only that. As you said, the run defense is Tom Coughlin's responsibility that they gave up 230 yards 3 weeks in a row. Is it Tom Coughlin's responsibility? The offense has been so inconsistent. The fact it's putting up enough points, consistently scoring points, their problems in the red zone and everything else. And can the Jagbakes fans actually have confidence that Caldwell, with the 2 first-round picks, they're going to make the right picks, that they're going to be here a long time and be a Jag, represent the Jags for a long time in this organization? I'd say most of the fan base would say no.
Thanks, Gary. Yeah, I think you're right. I think most of the fan base would say no because of some of the track record, but also those are the odds. I mean, it's not. You don't always hit on those things, but you could get. My point is, you could get a new GM in there, and I'm not sure I'd have any more confidence until you show me that I have reason to confidence. Here's a great example of this. I heard this name mentioned late last night or this morning, and it kind of was like, wow, I remember talking about him in such a good way, and now people are hammering. You know who I'm talking about? Your guy.
My
Saw
guy.
him at the Senior Bowl.
Oh, Dorsey.
John Dorsey.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, when we started this show in January and then in February, and we were at Senior Bowl, and then I remember being at the Combine and Dorsey was there, and we were like,
Wisconsin
holy
guy.
cow, this guy's unbelievable.
Oh, he's a rock star,
man. He found Patrick
man.
Mahomes.
He's a rock
found
star.
Baker Mayfield. Bring him in to find our quarterback.
He's a rock star.
Guess what? They ain't saying that right now
No.
in Cleveland. So that's how quick it changes is
It
my
does.
point. So from that standpoint, I don't know if I have confidence in anybody with 2 picks in the first round landing it. It's a tough business. It's a tough business. We can all admit that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I have confidence in anybody. I know the track record says not so great in the first round for Dave Caldwell, but there are a lot of things that, and when we get to this why, I think you could say, well, those are pretty good moves. That's a good move. These have been good trades. Overshadowed, though, by the quarterback moves, especially on Dave Caldwell's record.
Yeah, and then when we're talking about Doug Marrone as well, and, you know, South Beach Gary brought this up, and he kind of reiterated what I was saying earlier in the show here. Did the Jaguars this year have a culture problem? 110% yes.
Absolutely.
We know that. Did Doug Marrone...
Not just in the locker room, by the way, in general in that building.
Yeah, the whole entire building. Did Doug Marrone do a damn good job of wrangling it all in? I think he did. You know, whether he's here next year or not, I think he did a fantastic job of that. But also, did the Jacksonville Jaguars have an X's and O's problem? Absolutely. No one's going to debate that. And the X's and O's fall on the head coach. It falls on the head coach, and it trickles down to the coordinators and the position coaches. And it starts with Doug Marrone there. There was definitely an X's and O's problem, and that falls on Doug Marrone. End of story.
Couple of other thoughts here on social media. We'll get to DJ in a moment on the phones. Real Bimmy Jutler. I get that. The real Bimmy Jutler. The real Jimmy Butler.
Oh, okay.
You get it?
Gotcha. Yeah.
All right. Fire everyone.
He just beat the Sixers yesterday.
Lane is dad. Fire the rest of these clowns.
Said Lane is what? Oh, I thought you said Lane is...
Elaine is dad.
Oh, okay.
I'm just reading the
I thought you said
handles.
Lane is dead. I'm like, what?
I don't know if I should read the other one or the main one. But Jack Dan says, last night I was excited about the Jags for the first time in a long time after the firing of Coughlin. Now when you say Doug Dave may survive, I'm back to being upset. Alfie, my thing is, if they're back, are you making any staff changes? Can you make significant ones when they're all on a one-year deal? Do you let guys desperate to save their jobs use all that draft capital? Again, very fair point. You know, and the first thing when I said to you, I think we were off the air, you said, well, does that mean DiFilippo and Wash are gone?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know those answers. I mean, I don't know if that, again, I believe, in my opinion, after watching all this, when you are told to make changes on your staff, when you are forced to do things in this industry to be successful or try to fix it, it doesn't end well. It doesn't. I don't think so. Look, I mean, Mike McCarthy's a great example, isn't he?
Yeah.
Isn't McCarthy, didn't they make him change all the QB coach and the coordinator? They basically redid their entire staff around Mike McCarthy, right? Toward the end.
Yeah.
Because I think they were kind of hinting at change. Well, then they ended up getting rid of him anyway.
Well, that and him and Aaron Rodgers didn't get along that well towards the end.
I get it. But what we try to do is when we don't really want to fire the person because we're not 100% sure, or in sports, we say, okay, but go fix it here and go fix it there.
Yeah.
But didn't we just learn over these last few years that top-down matters? Top-down is what matters. Forget about down here for now. You can't just fix a rock here and there in this big pile.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to build it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be the mistake. That's a clue to me, like, well, okay, you're not – if you tell me that, hey, Doug Marrone, you can stay, but you got to fire Todd Wash and you got to fire John DeFilippo and you got to fire these – I can guarantee you right now, it ain't working in Jacksonville in 2020. It's just not.
See,
you're reaching for things.
Here's the problem with Doug Marrone, though, and if you want to compare him to Mike McCarthy was an offensive-minded guy, right? Like, he was the guy that called the plays. Now, eventually it got bad to the point where he gave up the play calling, but there was a long time for the Green Bay Packers when they had their Super Bowl run, Mike McCarthy was calling the plays, okay? And there's a big group of people that believe in Green Bay that the reason the Packers were not successful wasn't so much of Mike McCarthy because their offense was good, it was the fact that their draft picks from their GM trying to rebuild their defense, they just didn't work, okay? They spent so much draft capital on their defense, and it backfired, okay? Yeah. They've been a horrible defense for a while, and it's been having to, lay on Aaron Rodgers' shoulders. Now, the other side could say, well, you know what? Aaron Rodgers, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, has only been to one Super Bowl, and that falls on Mike McCarthy because he's an offensive-minded coach, okay? Mm-hmm. So you gotta get rid of him. So be it. Now he's doing this whole analytical thing, trying to get his foot back in the door in the NFL. We'll see what happens there. My point is this, though. Doug Marrone, he's an offensive-minded guy because he played the offensive position. But he's not like this offensive guru. He's not a defensive guru.
No.
Doug Marrone is put in place to try to just monitor everything, right? He hires the coordinators, whether it's Todd Wash or John DeFilippo, to take the reins of that stuff, all right? Doug Marrone's not a Sean McVay. Doug Marrone's not a Josh McDaniels. Doug Marrone's not a Sean Payton. Doug Marrone is a guy who just kind of... And it sounds bad.
Part.
Yeah, I don't want to come across sound
everybody
bad.
gets what you're talking about.
But he is the CEO
Those
part.
guys are heavily, Andy Reid.
Exactly.
Heavily involved with them,
exactly.
Right?
So
Doug Peterson.
Yeah. So from that perspective, like, it would be one thing if Sean McVay right now is on the chopping block, right? And maybe the Rams have 3-4 more years that there's kind of But you're sitting down with Sean McVay and you're like, why should we keep you? Well, I've been to a Super Bowl before. I got some new plans on offense. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do some of this stuff. Jared Goff, I'm going to bring him along, yada, yada, yada. If you sit Doug Marrone down right now, what is he going to say? Well, I'm going to try to get some guys underneath me that are going to do a better job. I'm going to try to, monitor things better and, try to get those penalties down a little bit. That's all you can say. So I think Doug Marrone is behind the 8 ball a little bit in the fact that he is that CEO type coach from the standpoint of, he's not revolutionary, I guess. Like
there you go.
He's not like the change.
Cutting edge.
Yeah, he's not Thank you. He's not cutting edge. Okay, he's a CEO, and the way the NFL is going now, with all these hires are going, there's a trend here, Brent. Whether it's on the offensive side or defensive side, they want the cutting edge dude. And if you're Shad Khan and you're into analytics and you're into modeling yourself after the Patriots, it seems like that's what we've kind of heard rumblings. To keep Doug Marrone would be to keep kind of the same old thing of that CEO, I think. Now, if you bring the coordinators in, it's a different story. But for me, it's hard to justify keeping Doug Marrone's job if he is that CEO type.
DJ's on the line. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Before we get to a break, what's up, DJ?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, man, this Tom Coughlin thing is a little deeper than just what here in Jacksonville. You got to go back to the New York Giants' last 5 years there, man, and the disconnect he had with Odell Beckham, and I could probably imagine Odell Beckham fine, you understand, with that relationship and how he left. They fired him in New York and kept the rest of the staff with McAdoo. You people forget about that. So that was, and I think, and you took 1 year of a break, and then you came back with this iron fist. So he didn't take that year to try to relate to the players when you just had OBJ. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, man, no, it was doomed from the beginning because he didn't learn his lesson with the Giants.
DJ, appreciate the call, man. Thanks for listening to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. And I think at the end of the day, whether he reverted back, I think he did change along the way. There are stories about him changing with the Strahans of the world and those teams that ended up going. Now, how quick was that? Did it automatically be like, boom, Super Bowl because he changed and he had a meeting with players? Yeah. I don't think so. I mean, that's misrepresenting it. My point is he at least adapted a little bit to those guys, to that team. Now, he didn't really adapt to everything else around. The new team came in, Odell Beckham Jr., although, they had their issues. Mm-hmm. And now here in Jacksonville, had issues. Mm-hmm. So Tom Coughlin was still Tom Coughlin. It might have just been around that team, those group of players, that he was able to adapt a little bit and change to keep the Strahans, the Tiki Barbers, Eli Mannings. And by the way, I will say this. He had Eli Manning. Yeah. And later in his Giants career, he had an Eli Manning that was starting to struggle. He had Eli Manning in his prime then to be able to hide everything because Eli Manning was playing pretty good football for those years.
Well, listen, we talk about the guys in that locker room right now. They always say that it takes respect to get respect, right? Respect is not given, it is earned. And I think for the most part, Tom Coughlin didn't have the respect of that locker room, obviously. You can go on Twitter last night and see some of the reactions of the players that are in that building. Now, it was kind of crazy because I didn't know those reactions were coming from the whole Trump impeachment thing or from Tom Coughlin. Because you know how NFL players are, Brent. They're cryptic, okay? So I didn't know who we're talking about right now. But for the most part, I didn't see one player come out and say, man, we're going to miss you. Tom, thanks for the memories. It's a respect thing.
All right, ready? Why? We never got to it. Why would Shad Khan keep these guys? Why? Give me a reason. And how much say do the players have in this in the next couple of weeks with their performance, but also with words that you're even hearing today? That's next on ESPN 690. Join the conversation, ** 690.
Pop quiz. If you sell a home for $500,000, how much would a traditional real estate agent charge in commission? If you guessed $25,000 to $30,000, you're right. But if you think that's the only way, you're wrong. This is why thousands of homeowners are making the switch to Rex. With Rex, you get a dedicated agent and a full-service experience at a fraction of the cost. Rex uses game-changing technology to cut out the middleman and save homeowners tens of thousands of dollars in fees. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. Remember, this is your home. Why give an insane amount of equity away to an agent? Rex offers the lowest fee in the industry without skimping on service. You'll work with an experienced real estate team with you every step of the way. Get the most out of your home. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME.
Florida, CQ 1057788.
Minimum fee may apply. Not licensed in all 50 states. Visit rexhomes.com to see if Rex is available in your area. Rex fully supports the principles of the Fair Housing Act and Equal Opportunity Act.
Okay, they definitely don't have Safe Touch security here. Look, you see that cheap plug-and-play alarm system right there on the table?
Yeah.
All we gotta do is crash through this door here, walk over to the cheap system, and smash it.
Boss, I got a better idea. Instead of smashing that cheap alarm, we could just unplug it and take it with us. Then we could regift it.
Oh, you may be onto something here. We could give these do-it-yourself alarms to people we don't like, and then break into their house a week or two later.
Boss, that's a dirty, rotten thing to do.
What, you want to give them to someone you like?
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
You know, I even heard they have a warehouse full of these cheap alarms from all the unhappy customers who've returned them.
Well, good thing these folks didn't return theirs yet.
Right. So let's crash and smash now before they call Safe Touch.
You got it, boss.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
The most wonderful time of the year deserves the most wonderful sale of the year. And for that, you got to go see Arlington Toyota, where you can still get huge Toyotathon savings and pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019s. With over 1,000 new and used on the lot every day, that's a whole lot of Toyotathon savings happening right now at Arlington. How about a 2019 Toyota Camry? It's not $19,745. Now it's only $15,581. That's $15,581 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Camry at Arlington. Got to have a 2019 Toyota RAV4? It's not $22,925. No way. Now it's just $19,481. Just $19,481 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota RAV4 XLE at Arlington. Plus, you're going to get all the rewards and benefits of the Arlington Toyota $5,000 Advantage Club with your purchase. Toyotathon is on, but it won't last forever. Get in today and pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019s at Arlington Toyota. In person at 10939 Atlantic Boulevard and online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/Toyotathon for offer details.
20% off! Ah,
back. Don't get Scrooged this Christmas buying a diamond from anyone else but Beard's Diamonds.
Now through Christmas, you'll save an extra 20% off Beard's already guaranteed low prices.
That's on everything in the store, including loose diamonds. If you're popping the question this holiday season, now's the time to buy at Beard's Diamonds.
You can save thousands, 20% off, but only until December 24th.
Beard's Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center.
Or at beardsdiamonds.com.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. Memphis 7-footer James Wiseman is leaving school to prepare for the NBA draft. His freshman season lasted only 3 games. He got a 12-game suspension from the NCAA for taking impermissible benefits. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott may not take any meaningful snaps in practice this week, but says he's good to go Sunday against the Eagles. Prescott has a right shoulder sprain. Buccaneers wideout Chris Godwin is out for Sunday's game against the Texans with a sore hamstring. Godwin is second in the NFL with more than 1,300 receiving yards. College football bowl season kicks off tomorrow. Utah coach Kyle Whittingham believes the playoff will eventually be expanded.
Well, I think it's inevitable. I don't think there's any way it won't happen. It's just a matter of when. And personally, I think the next logical step is to get it to 8.
Kyle Whittingham on Golick and Wingo. Utah plays Texas in the Alamo Bowl on New Year's Eve. College basketball doubleheader on ESPN2 starting at 7 Eastern tonight. Wofford, after knocking off North Carolina, takes on number 4 Duke.
Don't let the big talk from the big wireless carriers fool you. Straight Talk Wireless runs on the same 4G LTE networks for up to half the cost. Get the unlimited plan with up to 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G for just $45 a month. No contract. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with ESPN 690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN 690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30. Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
That's the only thing guaranteed in this business is change, especially when you don't perform like, we're capable of performing. Change happens a lot faster, a lot more often. So, obviously, I have a lot of respect for Coughlin. I wish him well. I don't know what his plans are. He's definitely just, a great man, and obviously, anytime somebody gets fired, it's never a good thing. And, especially, being a guy, I think he kind of, trusted in me and brought me here to try to, make a difference. And, we worked hard and, I tried to do the best I can.
That's Calais Campbell. By the way, we'll be on Jaguars All Access tonight. Mellow Mushroom in Avondale, 7 o'clock on Fox 30. You can watch the show, and we'll discuss more of these things. By the way, tonight we're not going to have another guest outside of Calais, who, by the way, I think is a good guest.
He's a Pro Bowler, man.
Yeah,
come on now.
A lot of it because of this. There's a lot to digest here. Jeff Lageman's on the show with me, and he's a former player. Obviously, Calais is in the building now. So from the grievances to the Coughlin news to where does this team and franchise go from here, there's a lot to get into. And so not going to have a guest today other than Calais Campbell. But we do have a show tonight, Jaguars All Access. Hope he can come out, Mellow Mushroom in Avondale, and on Fox 30 at 7 o'clock. All right, I want to get to the why, okay? Why you were good yesterday in Shad Khan's mind.
Mm-hmm.
You fired Coughlin yesterday. Before he even fired Coughlin.
Well, maybe Shad Khan was listening to the show.
I mean, he might have been.
Yeah.
By the way, I heard this. I heard a story that Tom Coughlin wanted to address the grievance issue yesterday. or in the last 2 days, Wednesday, yesterday I think it was. And either Shad had already made up his mind that you don't need to go do that because I'm about to let you go.
Yeah.
Or he did not want him to do it one way or another, so it didn't happen.
So from your perspective, if Tom Coughlin was going to address everybody about the grievances, what can you possibly say? Would you say that Logan Cook got snubbed from the Pro Bowl because he's one of the leading net punters in the NFL? Because that could be a soundbite. But what would you actually say? Being serious, I'm not joking here. Like, what would you do?
Come out to the Colts game?
Exactly.
We're all in this together.
Okay, maybe I'm kind of joking.
You
a little
are
bit
kind
now.
of joking.
Yeah, I am.
Well, and I think that's the thing. Like, what could he say, right? It's
Yeah.
not going to work. It's not going to come. That's why I think it got squashed.
Sure.
One of the reasons. But I don't know if it got squashed because it wasn't going to work or because, well, the news was coming. And probably because the news was coming. I mean, I don't think at 4:30 or 5 o'clock last night, Shad Khan made the decision.
Yeah.
But we also know this from Doug Marone's news conference today that Doug Marone came into Shad Khan's office after the firing of Tom Coughlin. So that brings us back to what I said at the top of the show, what we've been talking about if you just joined us, that there is some growing momentum and feeling around that building and around this franchise that Dave Caldwell and Doug Marone will be back in 2020. I'm not sitting here and telling you that it absolutely is happening. I have not been told that, but I'm telling you there is growing momentum, and I have been told that. So I don't know. I still don't feel that. I really don't, if I'm being genuine. But what I want to get to, and we discussed this already a little bit, but I want to get to why. Why would that happen? We already said why it wouldn't happen, why it maybe shouldn't happen, why you might not be able to do it. But let's be Shad Khan for a moment and say, why would you consider it? And the easy answer is it's all Tom Coughlin's fault. That's fine. Okay. 90% of the blame. The reason why you brought him in to run the football stuff, and then he ended up disconnecting everybody in the building.
Sure.
Okay. Fair enough. But give me more evidence than that is what I would say. Give me more. I mean, Dave Caldwell's been here for a long time. They had the nice run in the AFC Championship game. He should get credit for that. They've been bad the last 2 years. This organization has gone backwards instead of forwards with Doug Marone and Dave Caldwell also in that building. What do you think if you were their agents right now, their PR folks, what would you say? Hey, don't make this move. This is not smart. You should keep these guys on board
and why?
For 2020.
I'm going to think like Shad Khan real quick here again. Okay, so let's go back quick to the whole Jalen Ramsey incident, right? And remember, Shad Khan came back to meet with Jalen Ramsey, and they had a conversation, and what did Shad Khan say after that?
He said that when he said he's told me that that he thinks he's going to be ready to play.
Correct. With great optimism.
Yes.
We think this was genuine. Wasn't fake, right? Okay. So what ends up happening? Jalen Ramsey doesn't play. Now, you can make an argument that Shad Khan did that to make Jalen Ramsey look bad, and I think Jalen Ramsey lost some fans due to that. But also,
because that's when the faking really came about.
But despite of who looked bad or who looked good at the situation, that doesn't matter. The question I have for you is, how do you think Shad Khan felt after he met with Jalen Ramsey and he found out that his best player on the team that they drafted wasn't going to play for him anymore? You think he was kind of crushed a little bit, a little devastated? As you should be. I do. Exactly, as you should be. And I think trading him away, and granted, you got 2 first-round picks for him, I think losing Jalen Ramsey, I think that affected Shad Khan in a big way. Now, could you say that's Tom Coughlin's fault directly? Absolutely, you could. But guess what? If you're Shad Khan, if I'm Shad Khan, it happened on my watch. So now here's what I'm trying to get to. Shad Khan, we think right now, has lost a lot of that locker room and how they feel about the front office and upper management. Now, yes, this is directly a Tom Coughlin thing, but Tom Coughlin has associated himself with Shad Khan and Dave Caldwell, okay? So if you're a player in the locker room, you don't have time to go, okay, well, this is Dave's thing. This is Shad's thing. This is Tom's thing. No, you guys fall under the collective umbrella. So we can assume right now that locker room, yes, you got rid of Tom Coughlin, but they're still kind of like, man, like this was a horrible year, a horrible, disappointing year, and we were not set up for success, right? Because, yes, it falls on Tom Coughlin, but who was the guy who gave Tom Coughlin the chance? Shad Khan. So if you're going to make an argument of why you keep Doug Marone and Dave Caldwell to that matter, well, we think that Doug Marone and Dave Caldwell will be a joint tandem. We don't think one will go and one will stay. So from that,
I don't think it should be like that. It's either all or nothing, in my opinion.
And I agree with you on that standpoint. But what I'm trying to say, and then I get this is a long story, but what I'm trying to say is this. The players have been very adamant about that they like Doug Marrone, and Doug Marrone has done a great job in that locker room. If you're Shad Khan and you hear those echoes, now granted, you heard him with Gus Bradley as well. A lot of players loved Gus Bradley. Didn't matter. He didn't win a lot of games. You're gone. But from Shad Khan's perspective, or from my perspective, I guess I'm thinking like Shad Khan right now.
You are.
If I'm thinking
You're
like
on the Kismet right now.
Oh man, that's a nice view. So if I'm Shad Khan right now, and I'm trying to think, you know what? I did the players a disservice by letting Tom Coughlin did what he did, okay? And I know I'm new to this football game, but that's on me. And I feel horrible about that. To make amends, to make it right, you're going to listen to the players maybe a little more than you should. And you're going to listen to the players in their cries to try to keep Doug Marrone. So I think if I'm Shad Khan, and once again, I don't agree with this, but I'm just saying this could be what Shad Khan's thinking. If I'm Shad Khan, I'm taking the players' opinion to heart more than I ever have before. Because I don't want another Jalen Ramsey incident. I don't want another grievance incident. I want this to be a whole thing and put together. And the only way we can probably do that going forward, this next up-and-coming season, is to keep Doug Marrone. And if you keep Doug Marrone, you're going to keep Dave Caldwell. The end.
The end. Very good. Listen, I think if I'm those guys' agent, and I'm saying, first of all, for Doug Marrone, look at the job he kept it together. He was put in an awful position. Awful. I mean, this could have turned into 2-14, 3-13 easy. Mm-hmm. And I know it's only 5-9, but it could have been worse right from the get-go. Lose your quarterback that was highly invested, and nobody even knows if he's good enough to be that kind of investment, and you have to go with him.
Yeah.
Frightened a little bit, at least philosophically, with the front office. Jalen Ramsey, you take away my best player, and I have to put up with that circus for 3 weeks. All those things warrant. And you know what? We had a bad stretch. We got hurt a little bit. Things weren't going right. But we rescued this thing, and maybe we win 2 out of the last 3. And maybe 2 of them are on the road. And so from Doug Marrone's point of view, and I'm saying, you know what? There's a lot of people out there right now, and this is me, the agent, right? There's a lot of people right now. So raise your hand if you think Ron Rivera would be a good fit here in Jacksonville to take over for Doug Marrone. There's a lot of people that think that. I don't, but there's a lot of people that think that. Well, go look at his track record. He wins once out of every 3 years. Well, so does Doug Marrone. Marrone's won 1 out of every 3 years here in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I
mean, you're right.
Hey,
but
I'm his agent. I have to say this stuff.
No, I got it. But then at the same point, why is Mike McCarthy such a big name right now in coaching? Why is Josh McDaniels such a big name when he had a bad time in Denver?
Yeah, but Austin, you're not going to get Mike McCarthy. There's going to be 5 jobs out there. Who wants to come to Jacksonville right now? Give Marrone and Caldwell another chance right now to clean this thing up. Get the stench out of Jacksonville right now because of what it's perceived to be at the moment. That's what I would say. I mean, give these guys that chance. They're not going to stink it up anymore. They might not be super successful on the field, but they're going to create a better atmosphere, one that people will talk about in a nicer way. Look at the way the players are talking about Doug Marrone right now. They want to play for him. It's good that your players want to play for that coach. So
but you had that with Bradley, though, too, remember?
You did. They did. And they waited a long time, because not just because of that. They were very patient. Now, again, thinking like Shad Khan here, and not necessarily being the agent for Doug Marrone anymore, he is a very patient man on this NFL stuff. He is. He's not so much on the Fulham front, but he is on this. And I believe the reason why they gave Gus Bradley, a lot of people wanted Gus Bradley out after year 3. In fact, so many. And I believe the reason they gave him year 4 was because they knew they put him in such a bad position the first 2 years. And they did. I mean, nobody was going to win in the first 2 years, the way this organization was set up and the way that roster was set up. Not win with any consistency. So they, I believe, felt like, hey, we owe this. I mean, he took this ride with us. We owe him another year to see if he can get it right. I believe that's why they brought him back year 4. And when he couldn't, well, that's long enough now. He had the chance and he didn't do it. Well, you have to wonder if Shad will think the same way on this front, exactly what we're saying. We didn't put him in a position to be successful. In fact, we created more of a mess for Doug Marrone. And he's kind of wiggled his way through this thing. And it looks like he can handle this stuff and be okay. And he did take us to the AFC Championship game. And the players, after all this mess, are still raving about him. And they want to play for him. So, again, I think that's how you would say, hey, we're keeping him. Caldwell's an interesting one. Because Caldwell has had some... The people point to the quarterbacks and the first-round picks. But he also is very good at making trades, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the trades that he's made. And I don't think, by the way, you don't keep your GM job because you made a couple good trades.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying, very good at that. I mean, heck, he got a 6th-round pick for Blaine Gabbert back in the day. He has acquired good talent. Not enough of it. But he's acquired really good talent. And look at these last 2 drafts, and you look at their roster and some of their skill position guys and DJ Chark and what he's doing. Even Leonard Fournette from his year that he's having. And he had in his rookie season. Last year was obviously one you'd like to throw away. Mm-hmm. You look at Jawan Taylor and that draft pick. That looks like it's going to be a pretty good one. Minshew obviously is very favorable right now with a lot of people. They made that pick. They brought him in. I think the defense, they created this. Now they have to flip it and see if they can get it right. But they brought in a lot of good players in free agency, man. And they brought a lot of good players in through the draft on that defensive side of the ball. The one thing I've said about Caldwell through the months and years, see, we get these game notes for the Jaguars before each game, and it says, like, if Josh Allen has 1 sack today, he'll now eclipse the franchise record for this. Yannick Ngakoue will be second old. If you look at that list, a lot of the players that Dave Caldwell has acquired are now top 3, 4, 5 in franchise history of players that have played for this organization in 25 seasons. It has not all been bad for Dave Caldwell. The question is, you have huge draft capital the next 2 years. Do you trust him to take that draft capital of, I think, 18 picks over the next 2 seasons and make it into a championship football team? Do you trust him to do that? That will be the question for Shad Khan.
True. And referring to Dave Caldwell real quick, listen, in the NFL, it doesn't matter what you've done in your past and your track record. You know, Tom Coughlin's won 2 Super Bowls. Okay, he got fired yesterday.
True.
And you're only as good as your last.
You don't get a lifetime contract in the NFL.
You're only as good as your last season. Okay, simple as that. And this season right now that we're in, you didn't have any excuses of injuries. The roster you had was the roster you had, and that roster was put together by Dave Caldwell. And if you look at the X's and O's and say, you know what, the guys we had, maybe we had the talent, maybe we didn't, but maybe the players just didn't play up to their full potential. Maybe they did, but you have to question, was the right personnel? And I mean, were the right players on that team to be successful? And if you answer that question and say, no, they were not, that's on Dave Caldwell.
Well, for a GM, are you only as good as your last draft? Because if that's the case, it was a damn good one. We'll talk more about it on ESPN 690. When we come back, we're going to break. When we come back, I want to know can a player save Marone's job in the next 2 games? Next.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Mostly to partly sunny today. The afternoon high near 60 degrees. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 Action News Jacks from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Where now through December 24th, get 20% off everything in the store, including loose diamonds, only at Beard's Diamonds. In an ocean of car dealers, there's only one Atlantic Infinity. The Infinity Winter Sales Event features the all-new 2020s, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, loaded with luxury and convenience that will delight and amaze you, with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto delivering exceptional touchscreen command of email, music, text, games, and maps. Now, the Infinity Winter Sales Event at the one and only Atlantic Infinity's new showroom. Call for a test drive, 642-0200. Atlantic Infinity, 10980 Atlantic Boulevard.
When you owe IRS or state sales tax and can't pay, call J. David Tax Law for effective tax help. J. David Tax Law can stop IRS or state collection actions and protect you from financial ruin. Call J. David Tax Law for a no-cost consultation at 904-507-4777. That's 904-507-4777 or at jdavidtaxlaw.com. Peace of mind is only a click or a phone call away.
Right now at T-Mobile, you can get 4 iPhone 11s on us when you add 4 lines and keep your family connected with our most powerful signal ever.
So, hope everyone likes their presents. Thanks to T-Mobile, we all got iPhone 11s this year.
Really? Wait, all of us?
Yep.
The one with the all-day battery life?
And the ultra-wide camera.
Yeah, let's get a picture.
Okay, say happy holidays.
Happy holidays! I'm gonna post this pic right now. Already did. 20 likes.
Hashtag that's my girl. Hashtag best gift ever.
Yeah, #Dad's blocked.
Ring in the holidays at T-Mobile. Get 4 lines for just $30 a line, and hurry in to get 4 iPhone 11s on us with new lines and qualifying iPhone trade-ins.
Via 24 credits for well-qualified buyers with AutoPay plus taxes and fees. If you cancel your line before receiving 24 credits, you may owe up to the full value of your device, $699.99 for base model. Contact us. Qualifying service and finance agreements required.
Before I got married, my dad told me, happy wife, happy life.
Really? Mine told me, get her bling, you'll be king.
That man's a genius.
The clock's ticking till Christmas, and your JCPenney associate will help you find the perfect gift. JCPenney Rewards members get select diamond jewelry for $25 each, or get an extra 20% off with your JCPenney credit card and coupon. Use it to get 70% off select gold and silver jewelry. JCPenney. Offers valid 12/19 to 12/24. Credit offer subject to credit approval. $25 jewelry excluded from coupons and rewards. Other exclusions apply. See jcp.com for coupon and details.
Sometimes for inspiration, you just have to look up. For more than 60 years, the Goodyear blimp has fueled greatness on the gridiron by providing aerial coverage of some of the most legendary moments in college football history. When the Goodyear blimp rises above a stadium, it inspires players to reach higher and rise to the challenge of the game's biggest moments. Now it's your turn to go further with Goodyear. Discover tires made to rise above the rest. Learn more at Goodyear.com. Goodyear, more driven.
It's a celebration you won't want to miss. The 75th Tax Slayer Gator Bowl on Thursday, January 2nd, 7 p.m. at TIAA Bank Field. This year's matchup will feature a team from the SEC pitted against an opponent from either the ACC or Big Ten Conference. Let's fill the bank and pay tribute to 75 years of Gator Bowl history. Special anniversary offer includes 4 game tickets, a parking pass, and game program for only $75. Package is now on sale at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com.
I'm Thea Jeffers, owner of Breezy Jazz Club and T-Works Interior Decorating. It doesn't matter where you come from, it's possible to own your own business. But starting a business isn't easy. The Jacksonville Women's Business Center helped give me the confidence to keep going when the going got tough. At JWBC, I got the training, networking, and support I needed to help me reach my goals. To find out more about how JWBC can help you, visit jaxwbc.com.
What happens when a small business encounters an unplanned interruption such as a client work stoppage or supplier production outage? The impact can be devastating, but help is not far away. SCORE volunteers provide free mentoring to small business entrepreneurs on a wide range of business topics in addition to workshops and online materials. Since 1964, SCORE has been helping thousands of people seeking solutions to critical business issues. If you want to schedule an appointment with one of our counselors, go to jacksonville.score.org.
Hey everybody, Trey Wingo here from Golic & Wingo. Thanks for making ESPN 690 the fastest growing sports station in Jackson. It's clear Northeast Florida has great taste in radio. I mean, you're listening to me every morning, right? Join the ESPN 690 team and get your business notice today. The First Coast is making the switch to ESPN 690, and there's no better time to get your business in front of them. Call ESPN 690 today, 245-8732. That's 245-8732. Grow your business today on the new ESPN 690.
The holidays are on the horizon. That means family and food. Hey, everybody, I'm Brent Martineau. Let Renna's Pizza help you out. Parties at school, parties at work, celebrations, or maybe you're just tired of cooking yourself. Renna's has you covered with 5 locations in Northeast Florida. Want a fresh one? Renna's makes everything fresh. New York-style pizza, sandwiches, salads, and pasta dishes. Everything fresh. Find out why Renna's has been a family favorite for over 40 years. 5 locations in Northeast Florida. Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach.
It's a celebration you won't want to miss. The 75th Tax Slayer Gator Bowl on Thursday, January 2nd, 7 p.m. at TIAA Bank Field. This year's matchup will feature a team from the SEC pitted against an opponent from either the ACC or Big Ten Conference. Let's fill the bank and pay tribute to 75 years of Gator Bowl history. Special anniversary offer includes 4 game tickets, a parking pass, and game program for only $75. Package is now on sale at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com.
When the time comes to get your roof replaced, call Big Fish Roofing. We don't require any upfront deposits, and we are locally owned and operated by Jacksonville natives who have built their business on quality and integrity. At Big Fish Roofing, we know your roof is the first line of defense against the elements, so we make sure to deliver a quality project in a timely manner. You can find us at bigfishroofing.com or facebook.com/bigfishroofing, or give us a call at 904-685-8334.
We love our pets. Our furry little friends mean so much to us that we want nothing but the best. At Forever Vets Animal Hospital, we feel the same way too. Forever Vets Animal Hospital understands that you have busy schedules. That's why we're open 7 days a week and have extended hours during the work week. In case you have an emergency, remember, stay calm and call Forever Vets Animal Hospital with 6 convenient locations throughout Jacksonville and St. Augustine. Forever Vets Animal Hospital is here for you and your pet. First-time customers receive a free pet exam from one of our highly trained veterinarians. We also offer wellness plans that fit everyone's budget. Forever Vets Animal Hospital makes life easy for you and your pet. Go to forevervets.com to schedule an appointment. Forever Vets Animal Hospital, keeping your pets healthy and happy forever.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need to be involved in the community. Then you need to...
Whoa. I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions, your local marketing team putting you at the top of mind. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today and let us take your business to the next level. Local Solutions, powered by Cox Media Group. Marketing solved.
Hey, it's Coos from Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Now, I know there's a ton of ways you can listen to the show, but did you know one of the ways is through a smart speaker? Yes, the Google Home, the Amazon Alexa. It's pretty easy to do. Just tell either of them to play ESPN 690. Try it out weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m., and you can listen to Action Sports Jacks.
It's me, DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, the king of bada bing. This is Action Sports Jacks. Bang!
I think Coach Doug is doing an excellent job with the players. And like I say, nobody's perfect. I think he's learned too, communicating better with the players. Just trying to understand us, it's a different generation of guys too, So I think he's done a tremendous job with us, and he's very understanding this year.
Well, there you go, an endorsement for Doug Marrone from Leonard Fournette. And Leonard Fournette's played an interesting role in this whole thing. If you think about the parties that we're talking about here on the show, obviously Dave Caldwell drafted him top 5 overall, so he's got to live up to that, or trying to. Tom Coughlin has fined him a lot of money, and they've had sit-down meetings. And he did say, by the way, he shared the story, and maybe we have that, Coos, we can play a little bit later, but he said TJ Yeldon called him. He said, hey, man, I got fined $100,000 for sitting on the bench. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, man. He's like, I don't know what you can do about that. He looked in his email an hour later. He's like, damn, I got fined $100,000 too.
Man, that's just so much money, though.
It's a lot of money. And that's the beef. It's not necessarily getting fined. It's the amount of money.
Yeah.
I think players understand when they do get fined. And maybe there are circumstances where, you file grievances, you're like, I don't think I deserve that fine.
Yeah.
But, you talk to some people in the business, there are a lot of folks, players and agents and all that say, yeah, I get it, probably did deserve a fine. But the amount of money for that, and again, Leonard's situation as an inactive player in that game,
yeah,
maybe should have been reprimanded to some degree of, dude, that's a bad look. You're a captain and all that. But $100,000 fine for being an inactive player and sitting on the bench? That's just crazy.
And here's my issue with that, Brent. Before every single training camp, before the season starts, coaches will sit down and be like, you have to be on time. If you're on time, here's how much you get fined. If you fall asleep, some coaches will be like, here's how much you get fined. So, you go through the list of fines. Honestly, every single team I was on, every single training camp I went through, it was probably 3 or 4 things max, right? It's not that important. And I guarantee if you sit on the bench, if you're not active, that's a fine. I guarantee that slideshow never made it to the PowerPoint presentation from Doug Marrone, okay? So when you find somebody like Leonard Fournette or TJ Yeldon, you find them that $100,000, to me, once again, it's a respect issue because now you're almost like a hall monitor, man. And instead of taking those guys who are grown men and saying, hey, come in my office and we got to talk about this because this is not acceptable, you just take out your pamphlet and you write $100,000. Boop, pay it. You don't, to me, and maybe I'm just too new school, I guess, to understand it, but to me, you don't win a team over that way. You don't earn respect that way. And especially, some leaders, soon-to-be leaders, the team, as Leonard Fournette now is a leader of the team, you just don't win people over that way, I guess.
No, I don't think so either. I think there's a way to discipline, and then there's a way to lose trust.
Yeah.
And when you find the pocketbook excessive amounts, and when you ask other players around the league, hey, did you get something like this? Does this make sense? And you ask guys that have been in the league for a decade, like a Calais Campbell or somebody, is like, is this right? And that's crazy. Well, that's a good way to lose trust. And that's what happened in that organization with Tom Coughlin. And by the way, once there's a lack of trust for up top, and we've talked about this in the past on the show, but that can spread even to the coaches and Doug Marrone and everything else because they feel like that's them, right? And that's where Doug's really done a nice job of saying, hey, there's a layer in between all this. There's these guys up here, there's our locker room, and we're kind of we're bridging that. And he's done a great job of communicating, listening to the players, all those things. That's what Leonard Fournette just talked about. Yeah. And Leonard Fournette, by the way, later said he was asked, do you want him back next year? He said, absolutely.
Question for you. You know, this whole vice president of operations, the GM, and the head coach. I think it's safe to say that you're not going to see that again happen in Jacksonville. And from your perspective, do you think that it's harder to get your identity when you have that kind of power in place, where you have the vice president of operations, you have a GM and Dave Caldwell, and then you have a head coach? Do you feel like it's harder to get your identity across, especially when it's one more guy to kind of clash heads with sometime?
Do you mean as a coach or as a team?
Both, as a coach and as a team.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's harder as the coach.
Okay.
You know, I think Doug, again, I believe, too, there's something important to say here because I remember saying it maybe in 17, but definitely in 18 when things started to go bad. I think you can make the argument that the three men that were in these positions in Jacksonville would not be in those positions anywhere else in the NFL. Tom Coughlin, nobody else was hiring him as the executive vice president of football operations. It's not like you won a bid for Tom Coughlin and you stole him away from somebody. Nobody else was giving him that spot. Quite frankly, if you had fired Dave Caldwell last year, he wouldn't be a GM somewhere. He'd be in someone's office because he's certainly going to land on his feet, and maybe he gets another chance to be a GM down the road, but he wouldn't be a GM right now. And Doug Marrone, maybe people disagree with me here, but I think Tom Coughlin and Shad Khan gave him a lifeline as a head coach. I'm not sure he was ever going to be a head coach again, coming off the Buffalo and the want to be the Jets coach and that whole situation. I'm not sure he would have been a coach again. So I think, in a way, he owed something early on to Coughlin for Coughlin's ability to say, hey, yeah, I can work with Doug. You know, I can be a part of this. This is a good hire. Let's make it happen. And so I think all three are fortunate to probably be in the situations they were in, are in. But I also think from an identity standpoint, you're kind of right about saying it's hard to form this identity because the identity of this organization in 17 was it's Tom Coughlin. It's Tom Coughlin's back. It's Tom Coughlin win lunch. It had nothing to do with Doug Marrone. Nobody mentioned Doug Marrone in 2017, if you remember. You had to fight to give him credit in 2007. And again, he should have gotten credit. I'm just saying he didn't. So you had to fight for that. And then last year was last year to try to do it again. Now, this year, finally, I think Doug Marrone tried to establish his own identity as a coach and say, hey, I'm doing it my way, which I respect. Again, it's backfired a little bit after 8 games in because they didn't win. They lost 5 games in a row. But I respect how he went about it to try to say, you know what? I know there's a lot of stuff going on here. I know there's more people in charge than it probably should be, but I'm doing it my way. So I think he finally, as a head coach here in Jacksonville, formed an identity and a relationship with these players because he was like, I'm not listening to that anymore. I'm saying that in so many. I'm sure he listened to some, but he kind of said, I'm doing it my way. But that did not translate to your question onto the field. We have said it all year. There is no identity for this football team. In 17, it was. They were a run-first team. They wanted to be physical. They were. They established the run. Leonard Fournette had a good year. They play action pass, and they were a defensive football team, right? Last year, they were an injured football team. There was no identity.
Yeah.
This year, there has been no identity. I don't know what the Jaguars are. We have no idea. We thought maybe they would lean on their defense a little bit, even though we knew it wasn't as good as the last 2 years, even when the season started.
But I think
we didn't know it was this bad.
It was going to be maybe a top 8 defense for sure.
We didn't know it was this bad. Absolutely. We didn't know what their offense would look like. But John DeFilippo likes to throw it around a little bit. You got Nick Foles. He likes to take deep shots. What would their identity emerge to be? Well, their identity essentially was Gardner Minshew for about an 8-week stretch. when he was a starting quarterback, and now it's returned a little bit, but it's too late for that. So, yes, I think it is hard because it took Doug Marrone, in my estimation, 3 years to establish his own identity as the head coach. Yep. So, therefore, what kind of team do you want to be? Do I want to be the team that I want it to be or the guy in the corner office wants it to be? Mm-hmm. So that was a tough thing to battle. And, again, that goes back to Shad Khan. He set that situation up.
Well, and then this is exactly my point, where if you don't know your identity in 2019 and you've gone through these trials and tribulations, I guess you can argue, why didn't Shad Khan get rid of Tom Coughlin a little sooner? That's my only point I was trying to make out of this, is the standpoint of, if you don't know who you are as a team, and you can relate it to, you know what, we have 3 guys right now, and they're all kind of going their separate directions, pulling the rope in different ways, and the team's suffering from it, I just felt like, then why wouldn't you make a decision early? Now, the decision's made, and it is what it is. We can sit here and speculate all day. But I'm just saying, obviously going forward now, Shad Khan would probably only hire a GM and a head coach if he does go with a new regime.
Yeah, and that's the way to go. I mean, this wasn't going to be sustainable. We always bring up the Bill Parcells Miami situation. It's not. It just doesn't work long term. It's too hard, especially given that when you have coaches that might be Hall of Fame coaches trying to do it. Yeah, it just doesn't work. It's not going to happen. But to your point, why didn't he fire him earlier? My view of that, Austin, is I think he put everything, all of his trust from a football standpoint, unequivocally, into Coughlin. He said, go run this thing. He said, I'm not going to meddle in your business. I'm hiring you to do it. I'm not going to be saying, hey, what's going on over here? Somebody tell me the story about what's going on. He wasn't. That's my view of it. I think he just trusted Tom Coughlin to do it. And then once it started, again, he lost the trust. Coughlin did in the Ramsey situation. Mm-hmm. In my view, that's when he lost the trust. And then you start looking back and you say, okay, the words at the state of the franchise. Maybe Shad kind of passed that one and said, he zinged them a little bit. That's all right. Nothing wrong with doing that. But this grievance situation then became an embarrassment. And so then you have to jump in again, and then that's the time to do it. So I just think he trusted him to do whatever he thought was the right thing, the thing that he saw work in New York, the thing that he saw work early in Jacksonville. But anything that he saw work in 17 here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, you're right. But this is the baffling thing to me, Brent. And Shad Khan may not be an X's and O's guy, but he's a businessman, okay? He's a billionaire for a reason. He knows how businesses work. And I'm not an owner of anything, okay? So far be it from me to tell Shad Khan how to do his business, man, because I'm far from that point. But you would think that if things aren't going good, and this happened last year, and it transpired into this year, as soon as things weren't going good here for Shad Khan, that was completely sloppy, but I apologize. As soon as things weren't going good, you'd think Shad Khan would put it upon himself and ask the question, why weren't they going good? Now, injuries, okay, but if you go to your players and you listen to your players and you ask them, hey, what's going on, guys? Take the coaches out of it, take the vice president and GM out of it. Just ask the players what's going on. I guarantee 90% of them, maybe the Calais Campbells of the world, maybe even the Miles Jacks of the world wouldn't say anything. But 90% of that locker room would say, well, Tom Coughlin, man, like this, it's a nightmare right now. You think that Shad Khan will listen to his employees and be like, okay, well, if they're coming out and saying this, let me go ask the head coach. If you ask the head coach what's going on, I think Doug Marrone would also say, well, it's Tom Coughlin, man. I'm trying to do things my way, and he's trying to oversee that and do things his way, and we're clashing. So if you gather all that information from your employees and the guy that runs your employees and Doug Marrone, it's baffling to me that the decision would have been made sooner. Now, Brent, you and I didn't know just how bad it was, right? We didn't know grievance gate was going on. We didn't know so many players to put up with Tom Coughlin. The Ramsey thing started to shine a light on it a little bit, and then we started to dig a little deeper. But this has been going on for a while, and we always say where there's smoke, there's fire. So there's more stuff that we don't even know about. So if it was indeed that bad in the locker room, if the identity was that bad, the culture was that bad, I guess I'm a little baffled from the standpoint of why Shad Khan didn't take into consideration maybe Tom Coughlin wasn't the guy, not only this year, but possibly last year as well.
Well, and I think that would have been the time to do it. If you wanted to be ahead of the curve, what we've talked about a little bit, where it seems like the Jags in their organization, even this decade, have been behind the curve by a tick instead of ahead of it by a tick. Mm-hmm. I think last year would have been the one, and it was close to happening last year now.
Yeah.
But I almost wonder, last year we thought, maybe Dave Caldwell and Doug Marrone are going and Tom Coughlin's going to reset this thing. So was it a blessing, actually, that it lasted a year longer and Tom Coughlin's now the guy out and we'll see what happens with the rest? I don't know. I just, whether you like it or not, whether you agree or not, I believe one thing Shad Khan has shown Jacksonville in his ownership of the Jaguars is patience and trying to give it the amount of time to work itself out. And that, again, again, you don't have to agree with it. Yeah. I'm just telling you that's what's happened since he's been here. Outside of year one where he just got rid of everybody once he did see it, wasn't going to work. He must have seen something in there the last few years that showed him, okay, that's not great, but I still think this is going in the right direction. I don't know. We don't know how much he knows, how much the communication is there. Who's telling? I think the guy telling him everything on the football side would be Tom Coughlin. Mm-hmm. So how much are people in that building going behind Tom Coughlin's back and going to the owner? Probably not much.
But then my question is, why isn't the owner asking?
It's a fair question. It's a fair question. Hey, let's go head to break with the story of Leonard Fournette sharing it with about TJ Yeldon getting fined and then him getting the $99,000 fine. Fournette was pretty funny on it. We'll be back on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. This story far from over.
Yeah, I was, me and TJ. So the funny thing is, me and TJ, when it happened, this last game actually. So like 2 days later, so TJ called me. He was like, man, what the hell? He was like, man, I got fined $100,000. I know what to tell you. So then the email came to me. Then I called him. I'm like, man, I got fined $100,000. So just try to. Our biggest thing was trying to get our money back.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update. I'm Jake Mitchell. Yesterday, the Jacksonville Jaguars ownership decided to move on from Tom Coughlin as VP of Football Operations. Here's head coach Doug Marrone.
And he said that Shada just let me go. I think those are all, we've been through this. Unfortunately, in coaching, it happens. We've been through it before. I kind of just, took a step back and asked Coach, is there anything that I can do for you? And Coach was as professional as you guys know he would be.
Tom Coughlin has also released a statement which reads, I'd like to thank Shad Khan for the opportunity to come back to Jacksonville, all the players and the staff for their efforts, and the great fans here for their support. I was the first coach of the franchise, and I will always be supportive of the Jags. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com. Best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers wholesale prices with premium service, and TireOutlet.com always has a safety-first focus. With locations throughout the First Coast, there's no need to go anywhere else for tires and service.
It's time to chub it up with my favorite wings in the Jacksonville area. Hey everyone, this is Brent Martineau. You want the best wings in town? Mr. Chubby's Wings is the place to go. 2 locations, one on the west side and one in Fleming Island. I've been to both. Then I called the owner up and said, hey, I like the wings so much, I want to endorse them. It's a true story. And here we are. Bring the family on Mondays to the Fleming Island location for 50-cent wings. Tuesdays at the West Side location, it's all-you-can-eat wings. Try the Maple Cajun or the Johnny-style wings. Chub it up at Mr. Chubby's Wings.
What's up, everybody? It's Austin Lee on ESPN 690, and I need you, your friends, and family to meet me at the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena Saturday, December 21st for the Jacksonville Icemen's Drive for 10,000 teddy bears. I know what you're thinking, hockey and teddy bears, but check this out. When the Icemen score their first goal, fans will be encouraged to throw their teddy bears and other stuffed animals on the ice. These stuffed animals will then be donated to the Children's Christmas Party of Jacksonville, so thousands of local kids are going to have their holiday shine a little brighter. There is no limit to the amount of stuffed animals that you can bring. This may be the only time where you're actually encouraged to throw things at a sporting event. So let's have some fun. Let's cheer on the Icemen and try to break an ECHL teddy bear toss record, all while doing our part in making sure local kids in need have a special holiday as well. It's the Drive for 10,000 teddy bears supporting the Children's Christmas Party of Jacksonville this Saturday, December 21st. Get your tickets now at jacksiceman.com/teddy19. That's jacksiceman.com/teddy19, and let's put some teddy bears on ice.
Small business owners, it's been a great year, and now it's time to begin to make some end-of-year decisions. Instead of giving your hard-earned money to the tax man, consider reinvesting in your business with a quality pre-owned truck, van, or commercial work vehicle from Jacksonville Truck Center. With the largest selection of pre-owned work vehicles in North Florida and easy commercial financing, let us be your one-stop shop to get the job done today. We're on the corner of Arlington Expressway and Southside Connector. Stop by today or visit us at JacksonvilleTruckCenter.com.
Our veterans risked it all to protect our freedom. One of the best ways to say thank you is to volunteer to support them. At a time in history where kindness is a virtue, volunteering means a lot. For over 47 years, Help Heal Veterans, a not-for-profit organization with the support of citizens like you, have delivered therapy kits to veterans who need them. To volunteer or learn more, visit healvets.org. That's healvets.org.
Say hello to your new secret advertising weapon, your own branded mobile phone number. StarStar Mobile provisions vanity mobile numbers prefixed by **, providing audiences an easy way to reach your business. Give it a try now by dialing *** Mobile from your mobile phone. That's ** Mobile.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you've received a letter from the IRS and can't pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank account, garnish your wages, and place liens against everything you own. If this is you, contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville. Your first step to stop IRS harassment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they will resolve your tax issue. Only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you, and fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. Get the protection you deserve. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777, 904-507-4777, or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. The number again, 904-507-4777, or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com.
In an ocean of car dealers, there's only one Atlantic Infiniti. The Infiniti Winter Sales Event features the all-new 2020s, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, loaded with luxury and convenience that will delight and amaze you. With Apple CarPlay and Android Auto delivering exceptional touchscreen command of email, music, text, games, and maps. Now, the Infiniti Winter Sales Event at the one and only Atlantic Infiniti's new showroom. Call for a test drive, 642-0200. Atlantic Infiniti, 10980 Atlantic Boulevard.
Hey guys, this is Allie McDeal from both Best Bet Card Rooms. Best Bet's annual Winter Poker Series will be starting on January 17th at our Jacksonville location. With 12 poker events, the Best Bet Winter Poker Series has something for everyone, including the main event featuring an $1,100 buy-in with a $200,000 guaranteed prize pool. Whether you're looking for a low-limit or a high-limit event, the Best Bet annual Winter Poker Series will have a seat for you this January. Experience the best at Best Bet Jacksonville.
The most wonderful time of the year deserves the most wonderful sale of the year. And for that, you gotta go see Arlington Toyota, where you can still get huge Toyotathon savings and pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019s. With over 1,000 new and used on the lot every day, that's a whole lot of Toyotathon savings happening right now at Arlington. How about a 2019 Toyota Corolla? It's not $16,995. Now it's only $12,481. That's $12,481 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Corolla at Arlington. Gotta have a 2019 Toyota Tacoma? It's not $24,575. No way. Now it's just $28,991. Just $28,991 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Tacoma at Arlington. Plus, you're going to get all the rewards and benefits of the Arlington Toyota $5,000 Advantage Club with your purchase. Toyotathon is on, but it won't last forever. Get in today and pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019s at Arlington Toyota. In person at 10939 Atlantic Boulevard and online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/Toyotathon for offer details.
Ironically, my health and fitness business was feeling slow and out of shape. That's why I booked space at the Jack's Health and Fitness Expo on February 22nd at the Morocco Shrine. The Jack's Health and Fitness Expo draws thousands of health and fitness conscious people looking for ways to enhance their health. That's just the type of customer my business needs to get back in the game. Give your business a boost and book your sponsorship now at 245-8596 or visit BeHealthyJax.com. 245-8596 or BeHealthyJax.com.
Hey, boss, I could sure use some cheering up. Hey, do one of your holiday poems for me, would you?
All right, how about this one? 'Twas the week before Christmas, and all through the town, Safe Touch was gone. They were nowhere to be found.
Oh, I like it already.
The do-it-yourself alarms, just as simple as pie, claim to be good, but crooks know it's a lie.
Yeah, we do.
No more stressing about Safe Touch's response guarantee, because the do-it-yourself alarms don't have one, you see?
Do-it-yourself alarms have no response guarantee?
And that's why it's plain to see that the Crooks Are Us rule reminds us every day staying away from Safe Touch houses is the price we gotta pay.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
A sewer troll? Where does that come
Well,
from?
Brent, like trolls underneath the bridge? Well, imagine a troll that lives underneath a sewer. It's not good, okay? Yeah.
The Jags are a sewer troll.
And she's got a horrible personality as well.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 and in the TuneIn Radio app.
Oh, most definitely. That's the first thing I noticed when I got in here. I thought that I was late for me. As I look up, I had an extra 5 minutes, so I was good. So that's the only thing that's really changed. But like I said, the approach of the players and the coaches are all still the same.
Hey, Jay Boye, talking in the locker room today. It's funny, these same guys have been talking about this yesterday. A lot of people talk about the grievances, and then today about the Coughlin news. Boye, Calais Campbell, Avery Jones, big part of that. Something I didn't get into a little bit earlier, and I'd like to get into right now. I got a lot going on with this topic. We're going to stay on the topic for now. We can always switch over. In fact, I wanted to do a little year in review kind of stuff these days.
Yeah.
But, well, then this happened.
I know, right?
How surprised, by the way, I didn't get into this. How surprised were you that it happened last night?
Me?
Yeah.
Not surprised.
You are such a liar.
How am I a liar? I mean, I think I expressed, and I told you this story during one of the breaks, but the reason I've been so frustrated with Shad Khan and not letting Tom Coughlin go, because to me, Shad Khan wasn't being himself. And the reason I say that is because I look at Tony Khan. Now, me and Tony Khan have had numerous conversations. Obviously, I follow with what he's doing in the wrestling world, and I'm a fan of it. And every time I see him, man, he's nothing but nice to me. So I respect the hell out of Tony Khan and Shad Khan as well. But I watch how Tony Khan does things from a business standpoint, right? He's the owner of All Elite Wrestling, okay? Where do you think Tony Khan got his business smarts from? His dad. So when I see wrestlers from other organizations badmouth All Elite Wrestling and Tony Khan responds by going on Twitter, and badmouthing him back, that leads to me to believe that the Khan family, they're hard workers, obviously, and they're great businessmen, but they're also very proud, and they defend their product. So if I know that about Tony, I have to assume that about Shad. Now, Shad's not going to get on Twitter and probably badmouth the NFLPA. That's not a good look, obviously. But from that standpoint, I always believe that if someone was to disrespect the Jaguars like the NFLPA did, and once again, it's not a radio show disrespecting them. It's not you or me. It's not a national radio show. It's not even a player or a former player. This is the NFLPA. They have a direct reflect of how guys can go to your program or not. I mean, they have that much influence. So when a big organization like that comes out and says, I'd advise you guys go to Jacksonville, to me, then Shad Khan's got to be who he is and say, you know what? I'm behind the scenes guy, but you attacked one of the things that I love. You attacked, one of my pride and joys, I guess, and I'm not going to take that sitting down. So that's the issue that I had and why I was so frustrated, where Shad Khan, number one, didn't come out and at least say anything right when it happened, and number two, didn't fire Tom Coughlin right away. Now, obviously, he did. He shows that he cares, and now you're going forward. But once again, I thought it was going to happen right away.
Yeah, you did, and you said it. By the way, you said it at like 4:15 yesterday. I shared that earlier today, so you said it on the show. We were talking about it, and I said I don't think there's a big difference between yesterday and 10 or 11 days from now. I don't, and I still really don't. But I think he obviously got to the point, and I told you a little bit earlier, I think there is some belief that Tom wanted to get out in front and talk about it and defend the organization. And I will say this, I've heard, and I think I shared this on Monday, when it happened. The organization, some people inside say there's two sides to every story. Now, this doesn't seem like there's too many sides to this story. So I don't know what they mean by that. Maybe it came across a little differently or unfairly in their point of view. But nobody from the organization has said that. In fact, They did just the opposite. They fired the guy responsible for it.
Yeah.
So it's not like they said, hey, wait a minute, NFLPA. You're not right. Don't lambaste us like that because you're not. Instead, they said their actions basically said, nah, you're right. It was our fault, and we're going to get rid of the fault.
And that was another thing, too, was the fact that there were rumblings that, yes, there were two sides of this story. And I'm from the belief where if there truly is two sides of this story, and somehow this type of, these fines and this percentage and all these numbers are justified, then you would come out because emotion's going to take over eventually. Even if you're Shad Khan or who's ever running the Jaguars Twitter handle, whoever it is, emotion will eventually come forward and you will retaliate. You have to, because if someone's making something up and they're slandering your name, it's only natural for you to respond, in an aggressive manner. And the fact that the Jacksonville Jaguars did not respond right away when the NFLPA called them out, it showed me right there that they're probably guilty.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah, I don't think there's been much pushback on that. Even if there might be a sliver of it or a little semantic thing here or there, it doesn't look like they're arguing it. Now, maybe Shad Khan will come out at some point and Dave Caldwell or whatever will answer something at some point and be like, well, listen, I mean, there's a little here or there. Maybe there is something, but they haven't said it, to your point, and there's no indication of it. In fact, it's just the opposite. It's like they pleaded guilty. They fired Tom Coughlin.
We're in the wrong, and now we're trying to make it right.
And by the way, I don't think they fired Tom Coughlin because of this. I've said all along they fired Tom Coughlin because of everything, partly losing football games, potentially in a feel of almost like losing institutional control, considering your head coach is kind of doing things that you probably wouldn't sign off on, and players aren't really a big fan of yours and asking to be traded. That's control, and you're losing that. So I think it really goes back to the Ramsey stuff, as I've always stated. That was the beginning of the end for Tom Coughlin here in Jacksonville. The 2 games left, what do they mean? Do they listen, for me, for fans, for whatever, 5-11 is better than 7-9. It's a better draft pick. I think, be competitive, keep me entertained, but if you lose by 3, whatever, you lose by 3. And now you're 5-11 and getting a top 10 pick. You win these 2 games or go 6-10. Well, now you're outside the top 10, and now you're not getting as good a player. You don't have as much flexibility, all these things. Let's not worry about the draft. In that building, to Shad Khan, who sits in that office, to Doug Marrone, Dave Caldwell, these players, how big are these 2 games coming up in your mind? Does it change anything in the next 10 days, given the outcomes and the performance and the look of these 2 games?
To me, it absolutely does make a huge difference between a lot of things, okay? Obviously, the playoffs are not in the talks right now, okay? You're not going to the playoffs, so let's be honest. The Colts aren't going to the playoffs. Falcons not going to the playoffs. So you're all on the same level there. But I think from a standpoint of where, if you do let go of Tom Coughlin like you did, if the Jaguars that come out, Brent, these next 2 weeks, and all of a sudden they just play like a team we haven't seen in a long, long time, since maybe 2017 or since the Jaguars took on the Patriots, was a week 2 of 2018. If we see that team, then it's like, oh, wow, I guess Tom Coughlin really had a major issue of this whole thing, right? Obviously, it's important for the players to keep their jobs going forward because there will be changes, regardless if the coaching staff's here or not. There's going to be changes from the player standpoint. There obviously has to be. There always is. There's always turnover, okay? It's obviously important for the coaches because if you win the last 2 games, well, then you can be like, well, hey, listen, we finished strong, and that's what's the most important thing. People only remember you from the last thing that you do. Well, if you win 3 games in a row, okay, pretty impressive. So it's important from that standpoint. But overall, I mean, I think, like I said, I think the writing's on the wall, for me personally. I think even some of the things that Doug Marrone has said the past couple weeks understands that the writing may be on the wall for him as well. Just gauging by what he says at press conferences.
Yeah. Again, I'll share my thought. There is a growing thought that these guys are going to be back, and that might not even have anything to do with these next 2 games. Now, you can't get embarrassed. You probably don't want to go backwards. But if there is a good effort, and I'm not saying it relies, I don't think it is. If you win these 2 games, they're back. If it's not, if you don't, it's not. I don't think they hinge on that. I really don't.
Yeah.
But if Shad Khan's kind of wavering, it can certainly get you on one side of the fence or the other side of the fence. Thing about it is, I don't think Shad Khan's a wavering guy. I think Shad Khan has already made up his mind what he is doing. And I will tell you, there are whispers that it's Marrone and Caldwell coming back in 2020. Those are whispers now. I'm not saying that matter-of-factly.
I hear you. But see, to me, it's a little, maybe just a smidge unsettling for the fact that you're willing to roll the dice on your franchise for maybe 10-plus years going forward on these last 2 games of a season, that doesn't mean anything.
No, that's my point, though. I don't think it is on these 2 games.
And so this is my point, where I think he already has his mind made up. And these last 2 games, we'll see what happens, but I don't think they're going to have that much significance to the changes in the regime. To the players, obviously, but not to the regime.
Hey, big week in the NFL. Let's talk about it next on ESPN 690. Not just the Jacks. More NFL talk.
What's good, Stephen A?
Suddenly we look at those Cowboys. Dak Prescott not looking too smart right now that you didn't sign that extension. I reckon somebody need to tell Dak Prescott, hey, wait a minute there, buddy. You might want to sign that contract extension as opposed to being focused on setting the market. You might want to take a couple of $1 million less. I'm wondering about those Cowboys right now. Are you okay?
The Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Channel 80 and the ESPN app.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
And finally, Popeye's chicken sandwich is officially coming back.
Yeah!
They got the bread in?
I feel like people owe us a thank you for getting that, applying the pressure needed to get that chicken sandwich back.
We're going to take credit for that. I'm good with that. I am totally fine with that. Everyone good with that? All right. Thank us.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stuttgarts on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown with breaking news. NBA draft prospect James Wiseman is leaving the University of Memphis. Wiseman was suspended for 12 games by the NCAA for taking an impermissible benefit. He played only 3 games for the Tigers. Even if Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott doesn't take any meaningful snaps in practice this week, he says he's good to go against the Eagles on Sunday. Prescott has a sprained right shoulder. ESPN's Dominique Foxworth.
He's going to ball because that's what Dak does. I'm the president of the fan club for a reason. And you saw he played well last week. The injury happened early in that game last week, and he still played well and had an outstanding game.
Dominique Foxworth on Get Up. The Cowboys clinched the NFC East title with a win on Sunday. ESPN's Jeff Passan reports right-hander Julio Teheran will sign a 1-year deal with the Angels. He became a free agent when the Braves declined his option for next year. Passan also reports first baseman Justin Smoke will sign a 1-year deal with the Brewers worth $5 million. Smoke played for the Blue Jays this year.
Great news. There's a quick way you could save money. Switch to Geico. Geico could help you get great coverage at a great price. And it only takes 15 minutes to see if you could save 15% or more on car insurance. Go to geico.com today and see how much you could save.
Trust, tradition, and quality. A winning combination to feel good about your home. Sometimes it's just that time to replace your roof. Or maybe you need to fix your roof after a recent storm. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martin of Action Sports Jacks. And there are so many roofing companies in the area. But which one can you trust? Let me tell you about my friends at Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company. Trust a family-owned business with owners that grew up right here in Jacksonville. Talk to the owners directly. Get free estimates. And you can trust Jack C. Wilson Roofing to walk you through each step of the process. Tradition? Jack C. Wilson is a name you know. The longest-standing roofing company in Northeast Florida. They have been repairing and replacing asphalt shingle roofs since 1946. How about quality? A roof you will tell your neighbors about. Quality from start to finish, shingle by shingle. You can request a free estimate at jackcwilsonroofing.com. It's the first name in Jacksonville roofing. And make sure you let them know Brent Martineau sent you.
We love our pets. Our furry little friends mean so much to us that we want nothing but the best. At Forever Vets Animal Hospital, we feel the same way too. Forever Vets Animal Hospital understands that you have busy schedules. That's why we're open 7 days a week and have extended hours during the work week. In case you have an emergency, remember, stay calm and call Forever Vets Animal Hospital with 6 convenient locations throughout Jacksonville and St. Augustine. Forever Vets Animal Hospital is here for you and your pet. First-time customers receive a free pet exam from one of our highly trained veterinarians. We also offer wellness plans that fit everyone's budget. Forever Vets Animal Hospital makes life easy for you and your pet. Go to forevervets.com to schedule an appointment. Forever Vets Animal Hospital, keeping your pets healthy and happy forever.
Before I got married, my dad told me, happy wife, happy life.
Really? Mine told me, get her bling, you'll be king.
That man's a genius.
The clock's ticking till Christmas, and your JCPenney associate will help you find the perfect gift. JCPenney Rewards members get select diamond jewelry for $25 each, or get an extra 20% off with your JCPenney credit card and coupon. Use it to get 70% off select gold and silver jewelry. JCPenney. Offer valid 12/19 to 12/24. Credit offer subject to credit approval. $25 jewelry excluded from coupons and rewards. Other exclusions apply. See jcp.com for coupon and details.
The Home Depot delivers on your terms. Just say when, where, and how. Get free delivery on over 1 million items. No membership required. Need it fast? Order in-stock items online and pick them up in as little as 2 hours. Or tell us when you'll be home and we'll bring your order to your front door today. This is how doers get more done. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Visit homedepot.com for details.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anna Jar and Levine studios. Anna Jar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
I tried to keep the schedule the same for the players that it was today. I don't want any excuses from the coaches or the players about distractions or what may be going on. And, I'll address some things with the players after practice because I wanted to keep things the same.
Head coach Doug Marrone talking about the schedule changes and obviously keeping things pretty much the same. And it's interesting, too, because through this process with the NFLPA coming out and the players getting asked the question nonstop, I think if anything comes out of, Tom Coughlin being let go, it's the fact that it's helping the players in the locker room focus on the task at hand. And from the outside public looking in, yeah, maybe these last 2 games don't mean a lot, but they mean a lot to those players in that locker room and obviously the coaches in that locker room as well. And I think the standpoint of where you got rid of the cancer that was causing a lot of the questions that weren't really Atlanta Falcon related, that's only going to help the players going forward.
Couple of thoughts from social media world, by the way, on this topic. I don't see how you sell the status quo to their fan base. I can see Marrone because of the QB situation. Maybe Shad says, let's give him 1 year with a healthy Foles, but I don't see Caldwell surviving. Again, my thought on that part is it's not either or. You cannot do either or. It's either both and they're in step together or they're out. And you just can't you're not getting the best candidates if you say you've got to work with this guy. It doesn't make sense. The only way to do that potentially is to say, okay, Caldwell's fired, Marrone, you're staying, but when we bring in a new GM, that GM decides your fate, Doug. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if he'd want to sign up for that because then you might lose the coaching cycle. You might miss out. He probably would take a chance on that.
And this is an interesting question, too, that just got kind of brought up here. Let's say that Marrone and Caldwell stay, and let's assume both coordinators are gone. Who's the quarterback going forward, do you think?
I mean, you can tell me whoever's in the building right now. I don't know who the quarterback going forward is. I think Tom Coughlin was a big advocate for Nick Foles.
That was my point, yeah.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't necessarily think Doug Marrone was not.
Okay.
And I think people will try to distance themselves from the Foles signing and put it all on Coughlin. That's the way this works, folks. It's like you can't tell me back in March that Doug Marrone wasn't excited about Nick Foles being the quarterback of this football team instead of Bortles, or at least finding Foles who had that I wouldn't believe you. I wouldn't believe him if he sat here and told me that. I believe probably Dave Caldwell was on board with it. I believe that. I believe they were in line on that one. I don't think that was just Tom Coughlin. The bottom line is, though, Tom Coughlin has to have the vision and to say, hey, this is the right guy or this isn't the right guy. We're going to spend this amount. We shouldn't spend this amount. And, well, that so far has not worked out. Mm-hmm. So my point is everybody starts pointing fingers, and right now every finger is going to Tom Coughlin. That's why you just let that guy go. And for the next couple of weeks, that's the way it's going to be, at the very least, to try to salvage jobs in that building. Robert Sixto says, if it takes 3 years to establish a team's identity, is that an indictment on the head coach or is that an NFL norm? And Robert, I said earlier, I don't think it is an NFL norm. And I don't think it's necessarily an indictment on the head coach. I think it's an indictment on how this thing was set up. It wasn't, Doug Marrone had to kind of balance between, okay, what does Tom Coughlin want to do since he's now the czar of this place, and what do I want to do? Oh, man, it's cool that I'm back as a head coach, and I got a great opportunity, and Coughlin's won Super Bowls, so we should probably do it his way, but now I want to do it my way. I don't think that's an easy juggling act, is my point. Mm-hmm. And so when you're put in that position, I think it does take time for you finally to break away and say, I'm doing it my way. And that's what Doug Marrone did in 2019, and that was the third year. Jag Pugman 904. I like Marrone as an O-line coach, he says. So obviously not as a head coach. Jack Stan once again jumps in. 18 picks the next 2 years would be a great foundation for a new GM. I'd hate for Caldwell to make those 18 picks only to be let go and have a new GM have to start over. So continue to get reaction in on this topic, and we'll continue to talk about it throughout the rest of the week. Eventually we'll get to the Falcons and the Jags. We'll do a little bit of that tomorrow. I do want to shed some light on one thing. It's you and I, baby, for the fantasy football championship.
Oh, that's right, man.
How about that?
You haven't brought that up yet.
I mean, we haven't bragged about that enough. Like, I have not bragged about that enough.
And let's be honest, but of course, right? I mean, like, hey, I understand fantasy football, a lot of things can happen, Brent. Injuries happen. Sometimes your players don't perform to the best of their ability. Like, there's a lot of factors that go into having a successful fantasy football team. And we had a 10-person league. But of course, Brent Martineau and Austin Lane are in the championship game.
Absolutely.
What else would you guys expect?
I am the greatest auto drafter of all time.
You know what? It's not something I'd be bragging about because I forgot you did that, actually. So, if anything, this is like man versus computer now.
No, because what happened is I should be hired as the GM in Jacksonville.
Because the computer drafted
the way I maneuvered things around, pushed the right buttons, played the right guys, picked up the right players.
You pushed the right buttons, Brent. Brent, you pushed the wrong buttons because you couldn't log in your ESPN account. So
that
I had
was
an
true
auto
at
draft,
the time.
Man.
That was your worst idea ever on the show, by the way.
I know.
Live draft of the fantasy on the
trust
radio.
Me, I've had some bad ones.
I'm surprised people ever came back
for next year's.
I know.
Hopefully, at that time, nobody was listening to the show.
If you think that's bad, just wait till next year's fantasy football draft when we do it live again, back to back.
Live on location somewhere this time.
But that would be a little bit better.
Yeah, true.
But here's the thing, Brett. I mean, do we make it interesting? Do we put something on the line here? Because let's be honest, I'm the commissioner, and this was my idea. As far as the prizes are concerned, I had nothing in mind.
Well, I didn't either unless I win.
Of course.
Like, we have that. I had that championship belt made for the Dream 18.
Yep.
Like, I think the belt might be a good idea given your MMA status.
Yeah. My prowess.
I'm the king of the world.
Okay. Well, let's be careful. You haven't won yet, so let's be easy
for now,
now.
I am.
Yeah. Hey, and can you change your team? Can you put you say you're here at GM, just get hired. Can you put any kind of effort into your team? Team Martineau?
That's it.
Original. Striking fear in fantasy football players everywhere.
Should you be scared, though, of me? Is the question.
Well,
it doesn't add the point. Like, I have points for and points against for the season. You led the way with 1,856 points.
Hey.
I had 1,612. I was second. So we were the two best performers.
Yeah.
But I gave up 1,522 points, which was second most in the league.
That's your fault.
Third most.
Yeah.
You only gave up 1,365, which means you got lucky half the time.
I got lucky where I play great defense in my fantasy leagues.
You play great defense in your fantasy leagues.
All right, there you go.
Absolutely. But I did in the playoff round over 2 weeks have the highest total.
Yeah.
So you are shaking in those boots a little bit.
And here's the thing. I'm glad you're excited.
Who the hell says shaking in those boots anymore? Anyway.
Nobody really. But
I just did.
Here's the thing, Brent. I'm excited for you. Obviously you're glowing right now.
I am.
Sunshine and Rainbows is back.
Well, I am happy for our show. That
I'm
one
happy
of us
for the
is
show
going
because
to win.
you know what? It justifies that we know what we're talking about.
Because by the way, Tank.
People were gunning for us, Brent.
Oh, my gosh.
Brent,
dude,
it was 2 on 8.
I saw him in the parking lot a couple weeks ago. He's like, he didn't even say hi. He said, "You're going down, Martineau."
It was 2 on 8 the whole year.
It
and
was.
You know what? The cream always rises to the top. So here we are. And let me just say, it's cute, though. It's cute that you're excited.
Yeah.
And it's cute. This is your first year playing. You're in the championship games. But now here's where reality comes. And here's where the Black Parade starts to rain down a little bit on the Sunshine and Rainbows Club, okay?
was going to say, I mean, it's a black and white thing here all of a sudden. I mean, geez.
That's going to be a button. It's going to be a button.
Took it to a new level.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm glad you're excited. But I want you looking at me now. Hey, stay out of my way, okay? Stay out of my way. Because, Brent, hey, I respect you. You're the boss. You do a great job on the show. You call the shots, and I respect you for it. But when it comes to this championship game, gonna need you to stay out of my way.
No holds barred.
Because I'm playing for keeps.
Let me ask you this.
I'm playing for keeps.
You have Lamar Jackson.
I do.
Right?
Yeah.
Are you nervous at all about Lamar Jackson, not this week, but in week 17? It's a 2-week deal.
No, it's not. So you should probably check how that schedule works.
Oh, it's just this week?
It's just this week. This is the championship game, Brent, and that's it.
No, it's not, man.
Are
It
you
says
sure?
round 2, week 16 and week 17. You should check how it works.
Oh, let me see this quick.
Why would they have the semifinal be 2 weeks and the final be 1?
Because it's the championship, Brent. I'm pretty sure it's just one thing.
Hey, Kuz, please confirm that Austin is the commissioner of this league.
I mean, I shouldn't be the commissioner.
I mean, who did this?
Ian.
Ronan? Is Ronan really the commissioner of this league?
He might be. Okay, so
What's up, little dude?
I don't know if we're playing 1 or 2 games. Whatever the
We are. We're playing 2 weeks.
We're playing 2 weeks.
So
Whatever
my question is, are you
yeah.
nervous of week 17? Because they will try to take it. They're going to have everything wrapped most likely.
Yeah.
And so they just try to take. I don't think they'll not play him because they'll have the bye.
Sure.
But I don't know if they'll go to great lengths in that week 17 game. You should be a little bit nervous about your star player in fantasy.
First of all, my star player is probably going to get me 40-something points against the Cleveland Browns. Remember, the Cleveland Browns beat him the first time. Okay?
I know it.
There's a lot to play for here, a division opponent. So let's just assume Lamar Jackson puts up the usual 40 standard fantasy points. Boom. Thank you very much. Brent, there's always the waiver wire, man, okay? And I know how to pick the waiver wire. So to try to make me shaking my boots like you say, Brent, there's plans B, C, D, and even E if I need it, Brent, okay? I've already thought this thing through. Now I'm not sure if we're playing 1 or 2 games. Didn't think that part through.
Yes.
Don't need to think that part through. Not a big deal.
You're
I'm
a
just
1 week
saying,
at a time guy.
Hey, I am a 1 week at a
24-hour
time
rule
guy.
in fantasy football.
I'm just saying, Brent. Stay out of my way, man, okay? Gonna just stay out of my way.
All right, real quick look at the NFL. Saturday games, which is kind of sweet, right? Texans and Bucks. Bucks are playing well. Texans could wrap it up on the road, and they could win the division at 9-5 right now. Bills and the Patriots.
Big
game.
Are
the Bills for real? Do you give them any the Bills showed me something last week, but you got to remember, man, this is a team that still has a hard time getting to 20.
Yeah.
And 20 is usually a magic number in the NFL, especially if you're playing in Foxborough against the Patriots.
Yeah.
As good as their defense is, Buffalo's is good. They got to get to 20 points, don't they?
Without a doubt, I think the Patriots take this one here. But listen, I'm a huge fan of McDermott, what he's been doing, and the Bills going forward. And I've said it before on the show. I'm going to say it one more time. Kuz, if you want to record this thing so we can have it for future reference, go on ahead. You can go ahead and call me a pigskin prognosticator if you want. But I think the Buffalo Bills, after this season, are going to look at what the Baltimore Ravens did. They're going to draft heavy at the tight end position. They see Josh Allen being kind of like a poor man's Lamar Jackson. And I think you're going to see the Buffalo Bills do a lot next year of what the Baltimore Ravens do.
Well, hopefully we draft here in Jacksonville before the Bills so we can take all the tight ends, okay? Because we need some here.
Lord knows we need them, Brent.
Everybody talks about the big men and Derek Brown, and I get it. Give me all the tight ends in the world over the next 2 years.
Absolutely.
I'll take them all.
Absolutely. And if you have to do it, have some offensive linemen cut weight a little bit and put them down to 280 or something like that.
It's time to give our old friend Gary Burnage a call. Can you come back?
Come out of retirement.
Let's
I like
go.
that style.
Get working out, Gary.
Well, he's wrestling, so he's in shape. You got to think he's in shape.
Hey, Rams 49ers on Saturday night. Fantastic game. You never know which Rams team is going to show up.
Sure.
They showed up a couple weeks ago to beat Seattle. They didn't show up last week against Dallas. I think this is it for the Rams.
Quick question for you, too, regarding the 49ers. Are you at all worried from that Falcons game? And I get it. Pretty much their starting defensive unit was out for the Falcons game, but they still played at San Francisco. They still got beat by an Atlanta Falcons team that's had a pretty abysmal season. Are you worried at all about the San Francisco 49ers?
I'm worried about the San Francisco 49ers like I'm worried about the Baltimore Ravens. And that is, did they peak too early? And you got to be a little careful here. I'm not saying they're all of a sudden on a downslide. That's different. They're a good football team no matter what. Every time they go out, they'll probably be pretty good. Yeah, they lost to Falcons. Falcons can surprise people at times. That was a weird ending anyway.
Yep.
They have had a rigorous schedule, the 49ers, and they've handled it well. It was just 2 weeks ago. They just outdueled the Saints, though. So I'm not giving up on the 49ers, but I do in the back of my mind, we're still, 4 or 5 weeks away from big-time performance time, like AFC, NFC championship game performance time? Mm-hmm. Can they continue to play this good of football, the Ravens, the 49ers, for this long of a time? I don't know the answer to that. And does one injury here or there change things along the way? There's still a lot of football to be played. My point in that is I have not penciled them in. I haven't written them off, but I haven't penciled them in the Super Bowl just because they've been two of the most impressive teams here of the season.
Yeah, gotcha. And I think we're talking about this Rams, the Rams traveling to play San Francisco. I like San Francisco here. I think that the Rams kind of know what time it is. They're not going to the playoffs. That game in Dallas was horrible, and you can go ahead and call it a one-off, but once again, I think the 49ers are way too good, especially if they're going to have more guys back for this game, so I think San Francisco for sure.
Cowboys, Eagles, best 7-7 matchup you've seen in a long time because that has a lot on the line. Yeah. Packers, Vikings. Again, we talked a little bit about it with Ryan O'Halloran yesterday, but this is a fantastic end-of-the-year schedule, and it will end with the Rams and San Francisco and the Seahawks in week number 17. Really good stuff. I mean, the NFL has scheduled perfectly this year on so many levels. They've had good primetime games, and they're going to finish the season with meaningful big games that can really determine home field, division championships, and seeding in the postseason. The one thing that is not happening so much in the NFL right now is there really aren't, going into this final 2 weeks, not like 6-7 teams available for one playoff spot. Yeah. Most of the spots have been locked up. Or even if they're not locked up, they kind of look like they're locked up.
Yep.
So there's not a lot on the line. Now, AFC, that last wild card still has a lot to be determined, but it's more about seeding, home field, division championships that's on the line late in the year.
Of course. Talk about Monday night, the Packers versus the Vikings. This could be who's going to be the wild card team and who's going to win the division. And unfortunately, the Vikings with Dalvin Cook being out, that's going to hurt me and my fantasy hopes here. Don't worry, though. We got the waiver wire, baby. I'm going to make those right calls. But from the Vikings' perspective, losing a guy like Dalvin Cook is huge, and it's interesting, Brent, because I remember it seems like a couple months ago we talked about the Vikings saying, man, Kirk Cousins looks a little off and everything, and they just don't look like a team that's going to go anywhere in the playoffs. Well, then enter Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs start calling Kirk Cousins out a little bit, and they played a lot better. Now, Mike Zimmer, being the defensive-minded coach that he is, I'm sure is losing his absolute mind this year because their defense has been exposed. Their secondary, which we thought would probably, or at least which I thought would be the strongest thing that they got going for them, are weak. For whatever reason, and I can't put a finger on it. You can say it's age, but, you had all pros last year in that secondary, and this year they're not even going to the Pro Bowl. They're not even close to going to the Pro Bowl. So from that perspective, I don't know what's up with Minnesota. And obviously Green Bay, you have a team that's they're kind of surging and everything. It is Aaron Rodgers' team, and this team is going to go as far as Aaron Rodgers is willing to take them. So it'll be interesting to see what Aaron Rodgers can do at Minnesota.
It's interesting because you think like Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Rhodes were like toe-to-toe
kind
of guys, right? Like, hey, they're both awesome coming out of Florida State. Xavier Rhodes has taken such a back seat this year. I really don't think Jalen Ramsey has had a great year either. Again, that's not like a Jacksonville thing. I just think he hasn't had a great year, but he's played better than Xavier Rhodes.
Rhodes is kind of like a liability, man. Like,
a little bit.
Teams are starting to target Rhodes now.
Weird.
Really weird.
You don't usually fall off the table like that after such success. It wasn't like a one-year success.
No, he's been consistently great. And
also, it wasn't like say A.J. Boye, if he just fell off the table because now Ramsey's gone.
Sure.
That would almost be understandable.
Yeah.
But it's not even like that
in
Minnesota.
I honestly, I can't explain it. I wish I could.
Yeah, it's inexplicable. Jacksonville Iceman signed a player. We'll share that with you. It's a popular player that is back with the Iceman. Plus, they got a big day coming up on Saturday.
Yes,
we'll tell you a little bit more about that.
Talks.
How you can send a child to the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl. That's on the way as well. And we're not done talking football and Jags, but I do want to stop and talk a little college football for a moment. Where did everybody finish up in the rankings yesterday? We'll have that on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Fair to partly cloudy skies tonight with temperatures dropping to near 40. Grab your sweaters and jackets. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Where now through December 24th, get 20% off everything in the store, including loose diamonds, only at Beards Diamonds.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you've received a letter from the IRS and can't pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank account, garnish your wages, and place liens against everything you own. If this is you, contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville. Your first step to stop IRS harassment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they will resolve your tax issue. Only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you, and fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. Get the protection you deserve. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777. 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. The number again, 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com.
This Christmas, Beards Diamonds is giving you more sparkle.
With 20% off everything in their massive showroom, including loose diamonds.
So now you can go bigger on her ring, bigger on her necklace, bigger on her earrings.
Because Beards Diamonds is giving you an extra 20% off everything, including loose diamonds.
Nobody in the town center does that. Plus, you get special financing.
Now through December 24th in the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
The best food with the best service in Jacksonville. And now, more options for you. Hey, everyone, this is Brent Martineau. Jumpin' Jack's House of Food is growing. A third location coming downtown in January. Already locations on San Jose Boulevard and Atlantic Beach. Now, Jumpin' Jack's House of Food will be a neighbor downtown on West Adams Street. Get on the email list and get something free every time. Order online, jumpinjackshof.com. Jumpin' Jack's House of Food, the best food with the best service in town.
Many children in Florida are eligible for head-to-toe health and dental coverage with costs as low as $15 a month. The Players Center for Child Health at Wilson Children's Hospital offers free application assistance for families applying for Florida Kid Care. Call 904-202-9355. Habla Español.
It's a celebration you won't want to miss. The 75th Tax Slayer Gator Bowl on Thursday, January 2nd, 7 p.m. at TIAA Bank Field. This year's matchup will feature a team from the SEC pitted against an opponent from either the ACC or Big Ten Conference. Let's fill the bank and pay tribute to 75 years of Gator Bowl history. Special anniversary offer includes 4 game tickets, a parking pass, and game program for only $75. Package is now on sale at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need to...
I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today.
Hey guys, this is Allie McDeal from both Best Bet Card Rooms. Best Bet's annual Winter Poker Series will be starting on January 17th at our Jacksonville location. With 12 poker events, the Best Bet Winter Poker Series has something for everyone, including the main event featuring an $1,100 buy-in with a $200,000 guaranteed prize pool. Whether you're looking for a low-limit or a high-limit event, the Best Bet annual Winter Poker Series will have a seat for you. This January, experience the best at Best Bet Jacksonville.
What's up, everybody? It's Austin Lee on ESPN 690, and I need you, your friends, and family to meet me at the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena Saturday, December 21st for the Jacksonville Icemen's Drive for 10,000 teddy bears. I know what you're thinking, hockey and teddy bears, but check this out. When the Icemen score their first goal, fans will be encouraged to throw their teddy bears and other stuffed animals on the ice. These stuffed animals will then be donated to the Children's Christmas Party of Jacksonville, so thousands of local kids are going to have their holiday shine a little brighter. There is no limit to the amount of stuffed animals that you can bring. This may be the only time where you're actually encouraged to throw things at a sporting event. So let's have some fun. Let's cheer on the Icemen and try to break an ECHL teddy bear toss record, all while doing our part in making sure local kids in need have a special holiday as well. It's the Drive for 10,000 teddy bears supporting the Children's Christmas Party of Jacksonville this Saturday, December 21st. Get your tickets now at jacksiceman.com/teddy19. That's jacksiceman.com/teddy19, and let's put some teddy bears on ice.
I'm Dr. Eric Kim at the Heekin Clinic. I've dedicated my career to helping eliminate joint pain many patients suffer every day. At the Heekin Clinic, we use the most advanced surgical and non-surgical techniques, including robotic-aided knee replacement, which has produced outstanding results for our patients. I'm excited to be part of the Heekin Clinic team and look forward to helping the patients in Northeast Florida live a pain-free life.
The Heekin Clinic, complete orthopedic care specializing in total joint replacement. Visit HeekinClinic.com for more information or to set up an appointment.
The most wonderful time of the year deserves the most wonderful sale of the year. And for that, you gotta go see Arlington Toyota, where you can still get huge Toyotathon savings and pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019s. With over 1,000 new and used on the lot every day, that's a whole lot of Toyotathon savings happening right now at Arlington. How about a 2019 Toyota Camry? It's not $19,745. Now it's only $15,581. That's $15,581 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Camry at Arlington. Gotta have a 2019 Toyota RAV4? It's not $22,925. No way. Now it's just $19,481. Just $19,481 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota RAV4 XLE at Arlington. Plus, you're going to get all the rewards and benefits of the Arlington Toyota $5,000 Advantage Club with your purchase. Toyotathon is on, but it won't last forever. Get in today and pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019s at Arlington Toyota. In person at 10939 Atlantic Boulevard and online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/Toyotathon for offer details.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need to be involved in the community. Then you need to...
Whoa. I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions, your local marketing team putting you at the top of mind. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today and let us take your business to the next level. Local Solutions, powered by Cox Media Group. Marketing solved.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. Yesterday, the Jacksonville Jaguars ownership decided to move on from Tom Coughlin as VP of Football Operations. Here's head coach Doug Marrone.
And he said that Shada just let me go. I think those are all, we've been through this, unfortunately, in coaching it happens. We've been through it before. I kind of just took a step back and asked Coach, is there anything that I can do for you? And Coach was as professional as you guys know he would be.
Tom Coughlin has also released a statement which reads, I'd like to thank Shad Khan for the opportunity to come back to Jacksonville, all the players and their staff for their efforts, and the great fans here for their support. I was the first coach of the franchise, and I will always be supportive of the Jags. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com. Best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers wholesale prices with premium service, and TireOutlet.com always has a safety-first focus. Locations throughout the First Coast, there's no need to go anywhere else for tires and service.
It's the season of giving, so give a kid a chance to see the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, Indiana against Tennessee on January 2nd here in Jacksonville. We'll be there. Hope you will, too, and help get local kids to the game. ESPN 690 and the Gator Bowl charities are teaming up to send more than 1,500 kids to the football game for the 75th edition. Each child will get transportation to and from, a meal, pregame tailgate activities, a commemorative T-shirt, and a ticket to see Indiana take on Tennessee. The average cost is $75. Help us send a child to the game at ESPN690.com.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jag.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
It's funny, I always think about, someone asked me about seasons, and it was in New Orleans, and I said, I'm always about 3 seasons behind, before I can actually go back and really reflect on maybe, how I feel or my inner emotions or my take on things, because with the position I have, I take a lot of pride in, making sure that I stay focused, that, I am doing a great job leading coaches and leading the players, because that's really what your job is at the end of the day.
It is a curiosity of mine with the Doug Marrone staff. I wonder how much he had to protect those guys halfway through this season, maybe even going into the season. Todd Wash comes to mind. How much did he have to say, no, we're not firing him? You guys, I don't know. I don't know how much protection is there. We thought on several occasions Todd Wash could be without a job, right, if they were going to make a move, and they didn't. They went for a long time without making a move. They didn't do anything until Tom Coughlin was fired last night. So, and they had plenty of opportunity in that stretch. When you're losing by 22 points in big games and 35 points here at home, and it just looks so bad. It'll be interesting at some point when the stories continue to trickle out, what or how close were folks to being fired? How much did Doug Marrone protect them given the situation, because he didn't feel like they were in a good spot and be put in a good spot? Mm-hmm. And I said this earlier, too. When the finger pointing goes on, which it does when you lose, it just does. It happens everywhere. people can point to Tom Coughlin. Okay, that thing's done now. If I'm Doug Marrone, how am I explaining those 5 games where everything fell apart when I thought I was healthy and had a pretty good team and had Nick Foles coming back and made the decision to go to Foles and all that stuff? And again, now
when it was done your way, by the way.
When it was done your way, could you pass it on to did Coughlin make that decision? I doubt it to go to Foles because you had made every decision up until this point. So I can't imagine Coughlin made the decision to go back to Foles. I don't think that's the case, even if he thought that was the right decision. I think Doug made that decision. And so the only thing you could say is, look, we had everybody healthy. We had the quarterback that everybody brought in here to save the day, and we did awful. That points to not enough good players. Well, if you point to not enough good players, well, then that goes back not only to Tom Coughlin, but Dave Caldwell. And now you might have saved your job in Doug Marrone saying, hey, this is all we had to work with. But now Dave Caldwell might be at fault, so you have to make a move there, and therefore you're not in step with each other. And again, my view on this whole thing is if they do bring anything back from this regime in 2020, you have to bring both of them back. I just don't know how you can paint the picture to some other candidates as a GM or a coach coming in and saying, well, you got to work with this guy. Here's your situation. Well, I just don't think that's a recipe for success.
It would all come down to, and the NFL is notorious, and football in general is notorious for this, it would all come down to if the GM or if the head coach already had a connection with some person, right? Where, say...
Oh, yeah, good point.
Doug Marrone gets let go.
Yeah.
Well, then Shad Khan goes to kind of that safety blanket and Dave Caldwell and goes, hey, do you have anybody in mind? Have you had your eye on anybody, or do you know anybody that would make a good head coach? Oh, yeah, so-and-so, because we've been here together. I know his personality. Something like that. Those conversations happen all the time in the NFL. Now, the problem with that kind of thinking, though, Brent, is the fact that sometimes guys will bring in, the guys that they know that they're accustomed to, even though they're not the best fit. But that's how the connections in the NFL work. So that could definitely be a possibility as well. Keep in mind.
Absolutely. Hey, by the way, the Jacksonville Icemen, we're going to get back to the Jags in just a moment, but the Jacksonville Icemen signed Wasey Rabbit.
I love it.
Remember?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Big part of the team.
Yeah.
The playoff team from last year. They got him back. So big news for the Jacksonville Icemen, their leading scorer from a year ago. So that's good news. 33-year-old is coming back. Big night for the Icemen. You've been telling everybody about it. Coming up
this
Saturday, right? 7
absolutely.
o'clock.
Little teddy bear toss action. So, yeah, basically what goes on, Brent, is, people are encouraged to bring their teddy bears, as many as you want, as many as you can carry. I'm sure you can bring them by the garbage bag fulls if you really wanted to. But when the Jacksonville Icemen score their first goal, and let's be honest, they're going to score their first goal because they score a lot of goals. And when they score their first goal, you're going to throw the teddy bears and the other plush animals on the ice, and all those animals then will be scooped up, and they're going to go to kids in need to have a better holiday. So not only are you helping out kids, around the holidays, which is always a cool thing to do and a very righteous thing to do, but also, you're just throwing stuff on the ice, man.
Yeah,
and
it's fun.
And I've seen this.
Unlike Raiders fans.
Unlike Raiders fans who are throwing cup holders, ripping up seats, nachos, you name it. Yeah, this is more of a I don't want to say a gentler atmosphere because it's hockey. It's
controlled chaos.
But it is controlled chaos. Nicely put, Brent. So, yeah, I think anytime you can mix teddy bears with hockey, why not?
By the way, the Icemen will be home Friday and Saturday, 7 o'clock to play Atlanta on Friday, and then on Saturday play South Carolina. So make sure you get some tickets to the Jacksonville Icemen, watch some hockey right around the holidays, Friday and Saturday this week. That's tomorrow and Saturday. And the Icemen toss game will be a good one. Oh, Submarine Mike checking in. Haven't heard from him in a while. We talk Icemen, and Submarine Mike's ears go up and the whiteboard comes out. What's up, man?
Hey, guys, I'm listening pretty much every day. Sometimes I can't call in.
Well, that's okay.
So a couple quick things. If you're coming to the teddy bear toss game, if you want to help get to 10,000, a couple tricks. Go to a dollar store. You can get small little stuffed animals at the dollar store or the thrift store. Like my wife and I are bringing 10 apiece just to help get us to the 10,000. And so even if you're on a budget, you can still find a way to help. Listen, a kid. One of these kids, they don't care that it costs $1. They're just glad that, they got something cool for Christmas. So it really will help out a lot and help you can still do something good while still on a budget. So just an idea for some folks out there. And a quick wrestling question, Austin.
Okay, hit me with it.
Okay, you've been watching AEW and you know about the whole Dark Order recruitment, right?
But of course, man, yes.
Okay, so I'm wondering if Tom Coughlin was under a mask last night.
He's got a new gig. You know what? It's always a possibility because some of those guys in the masks weren't really moving the fastest, and there's like 20 of them in the ring, so it's hard to tell what age those guys were. Maybe he's in the need of looking for a new job. He went online, joined darkorder.com, and ended up seeing something that he liked. That's a great point.
I mean, that's who they're shooting for. Folks that are down on their luck. That's who they've been shooting for.
That's a fantastic point, man.
Thank you.
By the way, what do you think about the stunner? Tony Khan. How about that, man?
So that happened after the show, yeah. So I wish it would have happened on live television. And it's so funny because the very first
that was after the TV version?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's so funny, though, because the very first press conference that I did for All Elite Wrestling, and that one would have been in Vegas. And one of the very first questions I asked Tony was, and in the world of professional wrestling, it's a custom that the owners get involved in the storylines, right? And the owners sometimes get in the ring and kind of do their thing. You've seen Vince McMahon do it. You've seen a lot of people do it. And I asked Tony, would you ever do that? He goes, absolutely not. No. Like, I'm not going to step in the ring and have the spotlight on me.
That didn't last long.
Well, imagine my shock, Tony, when I watched All Elite Wrestling last night. Great show, obviously. Go to bed, wake up the next morning, and I see you trending for, Stone Cold stunnering somebody. I was absolutely shocked.
That's funny stuff. A quick mention. I want to get back to the Jags in a moment, but a quick mention on National Signing Day. We had Jeff Sims in. Really good visit with the Georgia Tech signee at quarterback position. The big news for me, Florida State got 2 quarterbacks. And they had Sims decommitted, goes to Georgia Tech, and Mike Norvell gets 2 quarterbacks. Willie Taggart couldn't find a quarterback in his short tenure with Florida State. I think Dan Mullen continues to do a nice job in recruiting their top 10 recruiting class. I think there are some people hemming and hawing about it a little bit. Bottom line is top 10 recruiting class, a good recruiting class. It's really tough to break through Alabama's, LSU's, Clemson's right now. Georgia slips back. I think they were at number 6. And there's still some work to do in February. And those numbers can all change. But you kind of know who the players are.
Sure.
Norvell and Florida State's going to take a little bit now. I think they were in the 20s, 25th it might have been in some of the recruiting rankings. But you got to build that thing back up. So a ton of area kids got signed. We had some coverage last night on it. February will be another signing day, but now you have a situation where there's a bunch of early enrollees. I think everybody did their part. I don't know what you wanted out of Mike Norvell and Florida State, given the recent change there and him just showing up. I think Dan Mullen is riding this momentum, and they'll ride it right into the Orange Bowl in a couple of weeks. And Georgia continues to be Georgia on the recruiting trail. And then, there's the Miamis, there's the UCFs of the world that everybody will keep an eye on, too. I'm not looking for a big jump from like a Miami into, oh, my gosh, here we go.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. UCF, I want to see if UCF, because we've talked a lot about them on the show, can they get back into the national conversation, into kind of pestering people? Again, I would like them to get to that point. And I think they're going to continue to get really good football players in there. So overall, I think for all the local teams that we talk about, people are interested in, I think it was a pretty good signing day for a lot of folks.
And I'll tell you what, man, and this whole new, this early signing period, there's pros and cons, I guess, to both sides. And from my standpoint, though, you want to talk about an advantage for the athlete. I mean, I was talking to Jeff Sims after we interviewed him, and he's going to Georgia Tech in January. He's going to be the early enrollment. And that makes just such a big difference, man, because I don't care what university you're going to. I don't care if it's in your backyard or across the country. Like, it takes a while to learn how to be just a college kid, try to get around a little bit because you're not living at home anymore. You're in the dorms and stuff. So the standpoint of where some of these student athletes now have the luxury of going early, try to get accustomed a little bit before having to go through, the rough scene of training camp and all that stuff. It's a game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll continue to follow it. Obviously, February will be another one. We got bowl season coming up. That will happen. We have some picks we can make tomorrow with some of the bowls that start on the weekend. This time of year, we don't have many shows left with Christmas Eve and Christmas and next week. We're only going to be here for one day, actually.
Yeah. And I'm going to be gone for that one.
And you're going to be gone. Tomorrow's your last day.
Tomorrow's the
you're
last
heading
day.
up to Wisconsin. So fine, I'll handle the rest of it.
I appreciate it.
I mean, I did go to Disney last week.
You kind of did.
Yesterday, 2 days ago.
You kind of did.
But what I like to do is relive a little bit of the year.
Yeah.
And we do that on the TV side. It's sometimes fascinating to go back and see what happened in a year's time.
Sure.
It feels like 10 years ago to me.
Yeah.
Some people might feel like yesterday. But coming up next, I just asked on social media, where does the Coughlin move rank on the myriad of Jags topics of the year? A quick revisit to those.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, it seems like, man.
Great year to start a radio show is what I said. We'll talk more about that to finish up this edition of the radio show next on ESPN 690.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
Gonna give me some of that
Kuz. It's unreal. That's the most impressive thing Kuz has ever done.
Oh, without a doubt.
Here on the show.
That was very nice.
It's the best use of star 690 ever.
Listen weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. in your car or stream them. ESPN690.com.
It's time to chub it up with my favorite wings in the Jacksonville area. Hey everyone, this is Brent Martineau. You want the best wings in town? Mr. Chubby's Wings is the place to go. 2 locations, one on the west side and one in Fleming Island. I've been to both. Then I called the owner up and said, hey, I like the wings so much, I want to endorse them. It's a true story. And here we are. Bring the family on Mondays to the Fleming Island location for 50-cent wings. Tuesdays at the West Side location, it's all-you-can-eat wings. Try the Maple Cajun or the Johnny-style wings. Chub it up at Mr. Chubby's Wings.
The Jax Health and Fitness Expo is here to pump your business up. Hear us today and book your sponsorship yesterday because space is selling out fast.
Yeah, put your business in front of thousands of people who want to get pumped up.
Or at least live healthier lives.
Don't miss the Jax Health and Fitness Expo, February 22nd at the Morocco Shrine.
Book your space now at BeHealthyJax.com.
And pump
your business up.
BeHealthyJax.com.
If you've been thinking about LASIK, consider Meta Custom Vision at Florida Eye Specialist. Just listen to what golf professional Todd Bork has to say.
I thought about LASIK for years. Part of what I do is play and teach, and it's frustrating to not be able to see. And that led me to go to the 250 place, 250 and I, to where I found out quickly that, well, you're not one of those 250 guys. When I went through all the paces at Meta, and, when you hear somebody, they've done 25,000 cases, and he was one of the pioneers of it, you feel like they kind of know what they're doing. I was told that there was financing options. It included all the follow-ups, and it also included if you had any problems or any tweaks needed to be made, they were all covered.
See why thousands of patients have chosen Meta Custom Vision and Florida Eye Specialist for their eyes. Call 268-EYES or online at metalaser.com. Hurry before your HSA or flex spending accounts expire at the end of the year. Your eyes deserve the very best. Meta Custom Vision at Florida Eye Specialist. 268-EYES.
Trust, tradition, and quality. A winning combination to feel good about your home. Sometimes it's just that time to replace your roof. Or maybe you need to fix your roof after a recent storm. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martineau of Action Sports Jax, and there are so many roofing companies in the area. But which one can you trust? Let me tell you about my friends at Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company. Trust a family-owned business with owners that grew up right here in Jacksonville. Talk to the owners directly. Get free estimates, and you can trust Jack C. Wilson Roofing to walk you through each step of the process. Tradition? Jack C. Wilson is a name you know. The longest-standing roofing company in Northeast Florida. They have been repairing and replacing asphalt shingle roofs since 1946. How about quality? A roof you will tell your neighbors about. Quality from start to finish, shingle by shingle. You can request a free estimate at jackcwilsonroofing.com. It's the first name in Jacksonville roofing. And make sure you let them know Brent Martineau sent you.
Luxury begins at the door of Atlantic Infinity with your concierge, no-pressure customer experience.
Only one Atlantic Infinity.
Experience the wave of luxury in person at 10980 Atlantic Boulevard or at atlanticinfinity.com.
When you owe IRS or state sales tax and can't pay, call J. David Tax Law for effective tax help. J. David Tax Law can stop IRS or state collection actions and protect you from financial ruin. Call J. David Tax Law for a no-cost consultation at 904-507-4777. That's 904-507-4777 or at jdavidtaxlaw.com. Peace of mind is only a click or a phone call away.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Austin Lane from Action Sports Jax. Thanks for making ESPN 690 the fastest-growing sports station in Jacksonville. It was a lot of fun playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars for 3 years, and I'm having just the same amount of fun on the radio every single day with ESPN 690. So I'm reaching out to you to be part of our team and grow your business with ESPN 690. Give us a holler at 245-8732. That's 245-8732. We look forward to hearing from you and hope you join the team.
The Stephen A. Smith Show.
I don't know what would make him think I would care about it. I don't give a damn whether I'm blocked on Instagram or not. Not like I tried to Instagram him directly. Anybody thinking about trying to post something on his page?
The Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Hey, it's Mike Gold from Gold to Wingo. You're listening to Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane. Give the guys a call. Grab your cell phone and call *690. This is ESPN 690.
I never really had no problem with Tom. I know he was strict, but I had Coach O'Leary at UCF, so they're the same background. So all this stuff I've been used to it, even to the clock. So, what he's done in the league, won 2 Super Bowls with New York. His resume is definitely great. Wish him all the best. Don't know what's going to happen with him. Fortunate that he had to end like this, and we couldn't get a Super Bowl for him while he was here.
That's A.J. Boye talking about Coughlin. I think very respectful. I think players were respectful of what he's done. And I find it interesting, guys like A.J., who had been fined, by the way, didn't have a major problem with it. Yeah. There is something to that part. We probably haven't talked about enough of that. I think we did mention it early on, but if you're getting fined, that means you're probably not doing something right.
Correct.
It's not like you were walking down the hallway and you got fined. It's most of the time because, again, I think it's the players don't even have as much an issue with being fined. It's the dollar amount they were being fined for, what they were being fined for. You know what I mean? I think that was their big
okay, but
contention.
If you're getting fined because you're not showing up to treatment when it's not mandatory,
well, again, that's different because that was a violation of the rule.
Sure.
Yeah, so that is a fair one.
And then that's a big part of it.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if you were late to a meeting and you got fined,
sure,
or whatever it might be, or even the sitting on the bench, or if they felt that was fine worthy, it was the amount that they were fined for it that really bothered the players more than the actual fining of it.
True.
And maybe that would have been the case with Dante too if it wasn't $25,000 a pop.
Yeah. Listen, I mean,
but the players in the CBA have a certain level where you can go, right? I mean,
of course,
that's up to them to change that.
Back when I was in Jacksonville and I didn't get fined, I probably should have gotten fined once for sure, but I maybe talked my way out of that. Maybe that's a story for another time. But usually, like, if you're late for a meeting, if you skip a meeting, like dress code, the most you ever were going to pay, at least under Del Rio's watch, was probably like $1,500. And that was it.
That was it.
That was it.
I was going to say, what's the silliest one? Like, do you remember? Like, what you could be fined for and be like, are you serious? Like, they're really going to fine? Like, Lagerman will tell a story tonight, most likely on Jaguars All Access. Like, he wore the bolo tie once and got fined by Coughlin for wearing the bolo tie.
Well, and listen,
what's even the standard one that you'd be like, are you kidding? Doesn't matter if Coughlin's doing the fining, Del Rio's doing the fining, Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
It's like, why is that even in the, you have some rules that are like, why is that even a rule?
I mean, I had some pretty, I guess you'd call them liberal coaches. Well, not really liberal, but they understood what was going on.
Yeah.
Probably the one that stands out to me that you asked that question was the hat rule. You couldn't wear hats in meetings when we were here. So the hat one, you had to wear the Jaguars issued gear. You couldn't wear any other teams of like any other professional franchise. That was another one. But as far as the monetary value is concerned, and I misspoke there because I said it's like, $1,300. But if you were overweight, that added up drastically. Let's just say drastically. I never had to worry about it, obviously.
And there was a range that you had to be in.
Oh, yeah. And if you missed even by a pound.
Sorry, pot roast.
Yeah, man. Many times spent in the sauna with him because I always go to sit in the sauna and you'd be in there stressing, man, for sure.
Hey, put that on. Many times spent in the sauna with pot roast.
Yeah, man. There we go. Do I have time to quick tell my story about
If
the
you
fine?
have no idea what we're talking about, that would be kind of funny. Let's
sure.
hit the happy hour horn before we do that. Then your story, and then a quick ranking
it's
of
gonna
stories.
fit right in together, so it's perfect.
Good. Happy hour horn right now. A little Vida de Luis tequila on a Thursday.
Y'all no make nobody go between us. Y'all make nobody go between us. Oh, cherry baby.
Let's declare this party now begin. See the beautiful ladies marching in. There's enough for everyone to win. We're gonna make this party the best thing happening. This is my favorite place. Nothing will replace, no. Nothing. Anything goes. Gangsters are rolling, half face smiling. Heads up, I think of the rhythm what you're drinking. Anything goes. Hey.
Grab a drink, get a shot, sip your Star Tenders.
Hey, looking for a little last-minute holiday shopping? Check out VitaDeLuis.com. Find out where you can get Vida de Luis tequila, and it will be a great gift because it's a good buy and recently had a 98 rating. It's had an unbelievable 2019. Debuting a couple of new flavors as well, Reposado and Añejo. Check out VitaDeLuis.com for all the locations where you can buy tequila. Again, one of the really good gifts of the holiday season if you're looking for something for a friend, a coworker, or any of the above. Made in Tequila, Mexico, shipped directly to Jack's Beach. Make your own recipes with Vida de Luis tequila, one of the smoothest tequilas you will ever taste. All right, story time coming up for you, which we'll put on the back burner of our ranking of Jags stories. We'll do that tomorrow.
Okay.
Where does Tom Coughlin fit in with the Ramsey, the Telvin Smith, the Yannick Ngakoue, all the stories that have transpired, the Minshew.
Sure.
How do we rank these stories? We'll talk about that tomorrow because I want to hear this story.
Oh, man.
Don't cut us off, Cruz. We're
Hopefully
hearing this
Mom's
story.
not listening to
Somehow
this.
it ties into Vida de Luis tequila.
Oh, it ties directly into it. So back in 2012, we played the Colts on a Thursday night, and that was my birthday. Okay, and it was a special game because, number one, Andrew Luck got sacked by me. He called me an MFer, so that was cool. I was a team captain for that game, and I had a bunch of friends in town.
All
okay,
right.
it was the
That's
exact
a good day.
It was an now we didn't win the game, obviously, so that sucked. But
one of 14 losses that year.
Yeah, exactly. But from the perspective of all things coming together, it was going to be a good night, okay? So I was on the treatment list, and the way the treatment list works is after the game the next morning, you had to be there by 9:30. That's cake, man. That's sleeping in. 9:30, I'm there. So we go out. We go to the Jack's Beach Bars, obviously, a place that I frequented a lot. Anybody listening probably saw me out there if you guys frequent those places too. And like I said, it's my birthday. I treated it more like being a freshman on prom night. I was absolutely out of my mind, to say the least. Obviously, I got home safely. We called the cab. Ended up waking up, finding myself in my friend's house at the beach at 10:30. So now I am already an hour late to treatment. I've never been late for anything in my entire life, especially in the NFL. I'm an hour late. Immediately, I panic. I'm stressed. My car is not there. My car is at the beach bars. I wake up my friend. I'm like, dude, we got to go now. You have to take me to the stadium. Don't even ask about it. Let's just go. Now, my friend also probably had a lot to drink. Probably not in the most bright frame of mind, but he's like, okay, whatever. And we get in the car. Keep in mind that there was a marathon going on. I'm not sure if it was the Gate River Run or whatever it was, but the entire roads to get to the stadium were blocked off.
Okay, it wouldn't have been the River Run at that time of year, but okay.
Maybe it was a marathon.
It was
whatever
a
the marathon
run.
one. Okay, it was some kind of
Blocking
run.
downtown.
Blocking downtown. Here's where I was at, Brent. And you want to talk about entitlement real quick? You want to talk about the modern era NFL player? I'm already an hour late. I can't be 2 hours late. We moved the barricades and started driving through the marathon, all while my friend, and I kid you not, this is a true story, my friend Mylan is out the window honking his horn screaming, I got a Jaguar who needs treatment. I got a Jaguar who needs treatment. We got to go. So we're literally driving through a marathon, me being an hour late. I run to the stadium as fast as I can, enter my number in the gate. I get through. Mike Ryan is the trainer at the time. Now, once again, it's probably an hour and 30 minutes now that I'm late. And Mike Ryan runs a pretty tight ship. I walk in I run in the training room, out of breath. I'm like, sorry I'm late, man. It was a rough night last night. He's like, I can smell you from here. Just go sit in the sauna and you're fine. Like, he understood that. You know what? I tried my best to be there. It was my birthday, and he never told the coaches about it.
Really?
And I never got fined for it. So shout out to Mike Ryan for having my back.
He's a good man.
Now,
by the way, he wouldn't have appreciated you driving through a marathon because he's a runner.
Oh, no, for sure. And to put a little bow on this story, I went in the sauna. I passed out in the sauna, but thankfully one of my teammates had my back. It might have been pot roast, actually. That actually woke me up because that could have been bad news as well.
How much did this guy drink at the beach bars that night?
Not one of my finer moments, man. That is what it is, though. You live and you learn.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
Tom Coughlin would have cut your ass.
Oh, for sure. And to all those marathon runners that we almost hit, I apologize, man, because there's a couple close calls. I wasn't driving, though.
That could have been a bad story.
Oh, man, really bad.
That was story time with Austin Lane. It's usually good.
Yeah.
Fines, a little beach bars.
Yep.
And a little training room. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll do it again tomorrow from Rena's Pizza. Come out and say hello. We'll be at Rena's Pizza tomorrow to wrap up the week. It's been a wild week here in Jacksonville. I'll be at Jaguars All Access tonight. You can watch on Fox 30. Calais Campbell will be there as well. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you on TV later tonight.
New flavors and a rating that would make man jealous. Hey, everyone, this is Austin Lane.
And I'm Brett Martineau. Vita de Louis recently got a 98 rating. It's new, and it's getting rave reviews.